and 106.3.
A gunny performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
And welcome into the Monday edition of Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Monday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Hope everybody had as good of a weekend as they could have with the football world being what it is. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you?
I was going to sing A Mighty Team That Will Not Yield, but I won't do it.
You just do whatever
But
you
let me
want.
just say, Quay Walker pushed a trainer.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, of all the things that I take away from last night, I don't think I've ever seen that. He freaking pushed a trainer.
That's the second time this year he's gotten kicked out. First time he pushed a
Not
practice
for
squad.
that.
No, he pushed a practice squad player on the sideline that was not playing in the game, and then a trainer.
Okay.
So neither one of the people that he pushed were actually on the field playing that he's gotten kicked out for this year.
And then,
Like, those are the people you're allowed to push, the ones on the field playing.
Correct.
like, I mean, again, it's like this is. I mean, there's that. My first thought was like, of all weeks, someone pushes a trainer. But I mean, like, there's never a good week to push a trainer. Sorry about your Packers, man. I just want to say I'm sorry about your Packers. I mean, the Lions.
I'm just mad.
I guess I'm happy for Seattle, but it's still also awesome that the Lions lost because of weird stuff in that game. So it didn't get in the playoffs, but they were able to. I mean, they were able to ruin the night for the Packers.
They
so,
were.
That's about as good as it gets for them.
Yeah, 9-8. Dan Campbell, winning record. How about him?
Tell you what, Super Bowl next year.
Yes, sir. Michelle, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I'm doing great. Got a nice sun this weekend, tan this morning. The sun really is the best form of medicine. I feel great.
Did a lot of beach time yesterday in Jacksonville.
Yes, beach
Nice.
all day yesterday. It was amazing.
There
Nice.
you go.
Yeah.
Duval.
I got some videos as Joe and I were running down the stairs to the press conference, and we ran into some fans who were getting out of the stands, and they just started yelling, Duval. Like, they do it in this specific voice, and
yeah.
I whipped out my phone, and I'm recording. I'm like, Joe, I'm using this on the show on Monday.
How's it sound?
It sounds really funny.
Yes. So for people, who basically there's an elevator, but sometimes you have to wait. So then, or you could go stairs, and so we all went stairs, which means then you're in with the crowd, which can be, can be slow. But yeah, all of a sudden they just started yelling. They're very excited. That's the best atmosphere I've ever seen in that place.
Well,
I'll tell you that much.
I would imagine that it is. The Jags get it done on Saturday night. They win 20-16 against the Tennessee Titans. The Titans lose their 7th in a row, and their season comes to an end. We're going to get into the 7 in a row part of it a little bit later this hour. Quite frankly, there's a lot to get into with the Tennessee Titans today, and we will do that. Take your thoughts all show long, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. But, Joe, a game where for a while I thought it was going about as well as it could go for the Titans in terms of the style of the game and the way that it was being played. The defense was playing well. Offensively, I mean, you weren't lighting the world on fire by any stretch of the imagination, but Derrick Henry was very busy in that game, and Dobbs made some key plays at key times, particularly in the first half. And it looked like the Titans may be on the way to squeaking out a very Tennessee Titans-like victory as they were taking on the Jags on Saturday. And then all of a sudden, Joshua Dobbs fumbles the football. The Jags pick it up, run in for a touchdown, and that was all she wrote in that game for the Titans. And the Jags get it done 20-16. You were there. What were your thoughts on the game for the Titans on Saturday night?
Yeah, it was exactly the formula was there. It was exactly, I think, as they envisioned it. That's what they said after the game. Vrabel said after the game, basically thought all week that they're going to win. Thought during the game they're going to win, and I did too. In particular, when Jonathan Ward broke that little tackle and got that first down. I'm like, yep, Jags are toast, man.
Yep.
But what's it come down to? I mean, it comes down to, first of all, it comes down to You're hoping that the third quarterback who has started a game for you, who you signed off a practice squad 17 days ago from the Detroit Lions, can win the game for you. So let's keep that in mind. But it comes down to pass protection breaking down, which is certainly one of the themes of this season. It's basically, it was a good blitz, but yeah, you gotta have something better than your quarterback hit blindside instantly, and that's on the quarterback. Dobbs too, recognition, whatever it is. You get that clean hit. I thought that is also that play. I think it's the right call, but the fact that sometimes we have obvious calls that take 19 minutes to read, and that's oh yeah, we're good. Here we go. Kick the extra point.
I thought it was absurd that they didn't take a look at that longer. I mean,
it was just oh yeah, let's go. Okay, bye.
Look, I think it was the right call. But Dobbs threw the ball 12 yards forward. You can't sit here and tell me that you don't take a longer look at that on that play.
I mean, you could, yeah. I mean, if you lose control, it doesn't matter. That's what he said too. But, I mean, I think he did. I mean, if it's out of your hand, you're shot putting it, whatever.
Sure.
But I'm with you. I'm wait a minute. You're done already?
Yeah.
That's it? Okay.
I thought that was going to be a 5-minute review.
Oh, I did too.
I'm like,
this is going to be.
I thought we were in for one.
So, yeah. But it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for Dobbs. It's another moral victory for the Titans. That's the thing. It's impressive, a lot of what they did in that game. In that atmosphere, we've talked about the Jags. The Jags are not great. So it's not like they went in. This is not like going to Kansas City and doing this.
Right.
Okay? It's not like going to Buffalo and doing this. But still, the Jags are red hot. They had an incredible atmosphere. It was a playoff game, primetime atmosphere. And they were punching them in the mouth with a very diminished roster. So, I'm impressed with the players. I'm impressed with the coaches from a big picture perspective. But it's 7 straight losses, man.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, it's 7 straight losses. It's a division that was completely in control that you let get away. So there's some good moral victories in those 7 straight losses, Yeah. But it's amazing. Somewhere along the way, they became the team that finds a way to lose, and that was so not what they've been for years.
Well, and like you said, I mean, they're on their third quarterback and the guy they signed off the practice squad a couple of weeks ago from Detroit, and yet they had a chance to win the game and then kind of snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. I mean, look, I thought defensively. Look, Trevor Lawrence had his moments in that game where he made some big throws, made some good throws, and the secondary wasn't perfect in that game. They couldn't get a pass rush on Trevor Lawrence for much of the game, and then that started to turn a little bit, and the secondary looked better. But the first part of that game, I mean, they couldn't get really any sort of pass rush on Trevor Lawrence. Jacksonville basically got to a point where they just stopped trying to run the football, and you get why. I mean, what did ETN finish with? 17 yards? He had 7 carries for 17 yards. Yeah. As a team, they had 14 carries for 19 yards. So they got nothing done running the football. But defensively, Jeffrey Simmons, as the game went on, I thought made some more plays. The one play where Trevor Lawrence has got, a guy wide open. I can't remember who it was. So basically like a corner route in the end zone. And Simmons got to him and threw the timing off on that play. And that was a big play by Simmons there. Trevor Lawrence also missed, I think it was Zay Jones on the most wide open touchdown pass you'll ever see, and he just missed him. So the defense wasn't perfect is my long way of saying that, but I thought they played well enough for the Titans to win that game.
Well, they totally – I mean, the offense, again, as usual, another theme of this season, just completely disappeared in the second half of a game.
Yep.
196 yards in the first half. I mean, really – at times, just excellent first half. And you think about, that you got the back-to-back plays of Derrick Henry throwing Rayshon Jenkins around and then Dobbs with a beautiful touchdown pass to Chikakonkwo. So second half, what do you get out of it? You get 116 yards in the second half, with that offense. 3 points, below the average of 5.4 or whatever it was going in. So the defense, I'm with you. They were – you're watching that game, and it's see, you got Simmons, you got Autry, but no one on the edge is doing anything. And you still have to have both things. But then I thought the defense stepped up majorly in the second because they had to, and they've had to do that so often this year, and they really gave them a chance. On that Tier Tart sack, Rashad Weaver PBU at the line, you're like, okay, this defense is actually going to make this hold up, and I think that it would have been really interesting, if that play is just incomplete and the Titans are punting it away, and it's like, okay, now go score on this defense, go 60 yards, 70 yards in this defense, but we'll never know.
No, we won't. And look, Christian Kirk had a good game. I mean, they didn't have much of an answer for him all night.
Yeah,
6 catches,
he was good.
99 yards, and a touchdown in that game. So, look, Trevor Lawrence may have drove him down the field, and they may have won the game anyway. But that's just a tough way to lose if you're that defense watching your offense and it's a fumble and a scoop and score the other way. I mean, it's really unfortunate for the Titans. I thought the defense was going to give them a shot to win that game, and now, I mean, look, there's a lot we're going to get into today, but there's so many questions that pop up after this game. You lose 20-16. You've lost your 7th in a row. Granted, you had a ton of injuries down the stretch, and you've already fired your general manager. I mean, we've documented pretty well what all's going on with the Titans so far this year, but there is a different feeling to it when you've lost 7 in a row to end the season.
Yeah, and it's making for a really interesting, of course, I got people already on the text line like, why is Downey not fired already? There's the whole coaching staff thing. Vrabel talks today. It's locker cleanout day.
Yep.
Lot to figure out here in the short term. Interesting point here made on the text line. Both Titans and Green Bay 1 seeds last year, both missed the playoff this year, and their games were both 20-16.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you know this? Did you think about this?
I did. I thought about how they should have been doing a whole lot of the same things lately on the same day, or at least the same weekend of total crushing disappointment.
My goodness.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed watching the
straight
last
years.
couple of years. 615-737-1025. We're off and running here today on Robby and Rexrode. We're taking your thoughts all show long. 615-737-1025 on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll have more on the Titans' loss to the Jaguars down in Jacksonville coming up next. But first, Michelle Knezovic has a word from Superbook Sportsbook.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Robby. And listen, add this to your New Year's resolution, winning money in 2023 with Superbook Sports. That's my official sports book. Superbook Sports has over 3 decades of sports wagering experience in Las Vegas, so you get the best odds boost anywhere as we head into the football playoffs. Plus, check out their special odds boosts and promotions at Superbook.com. Make 2023 the year when you make money from Vegas. Download the Superbook Sportsbook app and place your bets today. Visit Superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
185!
Every team needs a quarterback.
185!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown.
Tim. ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
How that team is built, I think there's a lot to like about them.
Every Tuesday at noon, Tim with Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Presented by Red Spirit and Wine in Bellevue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Jared with my friends at Hiller. Kick off the new year with new upgrades for your home. This month, when you buy something you need for your home, Hiller will give you something you want. Pick your prize. Get a free 55-inch TV, Apple iPad, Solo Stove, or Nintendo Switch when you purchase new whole home generators or select new HVAC systems. Or a free 55-inch TV, Nintendo Switch, or Solo Stove when you upgrade to a new tankless water heater. There's no better time to take care of necessary home replacements, so call Hiller. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Do you take pride in your work? Do you want to help build Nashville? Need to join Ironworkers Local 492. They build Nashville, working on everything from steel erection on buildings and bridges, plant maintenance, concrete, reinforcing, conveyor work, sheeting, welding, rigging, fence erecting, curtain wall, window wall, and a variety of other specialty work. They provide the best skilled ironworkers for contractors and projects in Nashville. If you want to build Nashville, you want to be proud of doing it, visit ironworkers492.org. Join Ironworkers Local 492. Happy New Year from everyone at Ironworkers Local 492.
With one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool. Yep, even easier than that. And with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC. Sports are easy to disagree on. Let's see what happens when sports talk hosts talk about something they agree on.
No, hold on. I'm saying drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds.
Well, I disagree. I think drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds.
Come on, man. Wait, I think we're saying the same thing.
Oh, so what do we do now?
Everyone agrees that drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings by new customer surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2020 and May 2021. Potential savings will vary.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studio, sponsored by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. You can watch us streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook today and every day. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Monday morning.
Real fast, man. I got to read this quote because it just pops up in my timeline from Colton Pouncey, my good buddy Colton Pouncey, who chose to cover the Lions and brought a winning season to the Lions. My goodness, Colton. Here's the quote from Kirby Joseph, who got his third pick on Aaron Rodgers. You see this quote?
I did not.
Quote, if that's his last pass, I'm saving that ball and I'm sending it to him so he can sign it. If he doesn't, I'll understand, but I doubt he's going to retire. He's probably going to try to come back, and if he comes back, more plays for me. Yes, Kirby Joseph.
I mean, look, dude.
A mighty team.
He had another one that got called back. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got Rodgers' number for whatever reason. It's amazing.
But he just like throwing him, just arm punting to
chucking
him.
I don't know.
I mean, that one was like they sent the absolute full house blitz on him, and he just kind of threw it up there. Man,
tough one.
That's toughy. Sorry to bring that up again.
Yeah, it's all good. Good quote by him, though. I like
Very
that.
good quote.
It was good stuff. Taking your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025. Tyler on the text line says, I'm going to sound like a sore loser here, but I don't see how that's a fumble by Dobbs. If you can push the ball that far down the field, how do you not have some level of control? The ball even had a rotation on it. If that's a fumble, how is it not a fumble every time a quarterback is going down and just flips/pushes the ball forward at the feet of a running back to avoid a sack?
Because they have the ball in their hand. I could throw the ball up in the air and volleyball it 20 yards. You know, I mean, the ball was out of his hand.
Could you?
10.
There you go.
I think 15. The ball got knocked out of his hands, and that's how it is. If the ball is knocked out of your hands, they call that a fumble. Now, the question is, and it is close, did he start to move? So the thing is, I think he started to move his arm, and I've seen some people on Twitter say, see, he started to move it forward before the ball got jarred loose. That should be incomplete, but I don't think he was passing mode. That's where I actually spent some time, unlike the replay officials, looking at the replay.
Yeah, it would have been nice to actually look at it.
Yeah. It's really close, though. I mean, it's very close. But as soon as it gets jarred, it doesn't matter if, like, whatever you do with the ball there. And the example you're giving, Tyler, is still a quarterback who has the ball clearly in his control and is doing something with it in his control. In this case, he's moving his arm with a ball that's been jarred from his hand, and that doesn't matter if it goes forward.
Yeah, I mean, it was, like I said, would have loved to have seen them actually take a look at the play and review it and maybe take a longer than 6-second look at it than they did on the play. But at the end of the day, I do think it was a fumble. Like, I think it was a fumble, and I think it was a scoop and score. Just would have liked to see the play maybe actually taking a look at, given the magnitude of that play.
I'm counting on all replay reviews being just like that now.
Yeah, just
okay, bye.
Looks good. All right. Keep going, guys.
Yep, there we go.
Unbelievable. What did you make of Dobbs' game overall in that game?
Well, look, it was good. It was on his way. It was on his way to being just a heck of a story. I thought he was really good for a lot of game. He had some big-time third down throws to Hooper, Woods. Woods had a nice game. Just, controlled passing, quick hitters. I mean, they didn't do much of looking downfield. And then, of course, when he did, he had Burks on that 3rd and long and just underthrew it. So, those 2 turnovers, obviously, you're talking about 10 points. I mean, you're talking about the game. And, it's like, how much do you get on a guy who's been a play 17 days, who's making his 2nd NFL start for not seeing the safety blitz. It was a perfectly timed and executed blitz by Rayshon Jenkins, getting his revenge for being Josh Normanized by Derrick Henry. But look, overall, I think Joshua Dobbs was a heck of a story here at the end of the season. And I think he helped himself. I think you see in those two games, you see why he's been in the league. You see why he's a pro. You see why he's an asset wherever he is, and I think he'd be an asset here. But again, it kind of depends on – this depends on so many things. It does. It may turn out like, why would they have him here? Because, it's Tannehill and they just drafted Willis. But then again, like, how do you – well, we can get into all that. It's a really interesting situation. But he helped himself in this league for sure. He also, I think, showed in those two games why he's a backup quarterback.
Yeah. I thought – look, the stats are what they are. 20 of 29, 179, touchdown and a pick. Obviously the fumble in the game too. I thought the first half he played just about as well as he could play in the first half. Just given the circumstances, given what was around him, I thought he played really well in the first half. And to your point, in the second half, for whatever reason, this team, they just can't get anything done offensively in the second half of games. And like you said, the average of 5 point whatever it was points in the second half goes down somehow in this game as well. It really is unbelievable. And we're going to get into the Todd Downing discussion coming up at 7 o'clock. But it really is unbelievable to me, Joe, that they could be this inept, regardless of really who was in there all season long in the second half of these football games offensively. Like, it's almost – I don't even know how to explain. Like, you should be able to score, average more points than that almost on accident in the NFL.
Yeah, and it's like when you get to the end of the thing, and it's again, it's why you lost in a game that you could have won the division, and it's just a consistent thing. You can't tell me that there's nothing to it. And I asked Vrabel about that, and look, it's after a game, an emotional loss, and most of the questions are about the game. But I asked about like, why do you think the second half thing? And Vrabel got mad about the question. Which I get. You're emotional in that moment, but to me it was a big. It's just a huge part of the story of this season that you failed so miserably with your offense, put so much on your defense, and for whatever reason had some good stuff in first halves of game and so little good stuff in second halves of games.
Derrick Henry, 30 carries, 109 yards in this game. It was really. His long was 14. So it's not like he broke, some big ones in this game. It was just basically a steady diet of Derrick Henry. I need to go back and find the official count, but Austin Stanley of A to Z Sports put this out there. I think at one point either late in the third quarter or early in the fourth quarter, and the 1st and 10 plays for the Titans. I believe it was 21 rushes to 4 passes. There's a lot of running the ball with Derrick Henry on 1st and 10, which, look, I would expect that to be the case the majority of the time. It was kind of extra majority of the time. Titans running the ball with Derrick Henry on 1st and 10 the other day.
I did correctly predict one of the play-action passes.
Did you?
I'll have you know.
Wow,
I did.
That's pretty impressive.
I told Buck right to my right. I said, "Watch this play-action first down." He was shocked because it was a little heavy on the first down runs. For sure. Probably could have mixed that up. I thought there were some good calls. I thought there was a little screen to Chig that was a really nice play, man. Had some good stuff going in the first half, mostly.
Yeah.
And then you did also have in the first half the very weird hook and lateral from across the field.
Yeah, it was impressive.
The Lions showed you how to do a little.
Yeah, they did. They showed you how to do the hook and lateral last night.
That was kind of sweet.
Traylon Burks being drugged to the ground, and first off, look, I'll be honest with you, I thought it was a heck of a pass by Traylon Burks. Right over the shoulder as he's being drugged to the ground. But that was
just a little risky.
It was one of the. I don't know that I've ever in the middle of a play looked at something happening and just like out loud screamed. I was like, "What are you doing? Why are you throwing the ball?" And then apparently it was called. So there's that.
Yeah, that's one of those. And again, like with all these things, because the text line is just buzzing with Downing. Fans. Like Officer Watson from Clarksville, but why is he? Lovie Smith, has already been fired and all this stuff. I understand. But I will say, like, that play is like it's also, I think you have to look at Vrabel too, right? Like, it's all downy, but like Vrabel, they practiced the play, I'm sure. I'm sure the play worked in practice.
I'm sure it did.
But, like, that's one of those things where, like, think about the difficulty level and what you're asking someone to do, right?
Yeah.
If it's not exactly, what the conditions you think you're going to get, clearly it wasn't.
No.
Because, I mean, it could have been way worse than it turned out. It was a 5-yard penalty. It could have been way worse than a 5-yard penalty. It's just across the field.
There's so many things about that play that was amazing. Across the field, again, I thought it was a good pass by Traylon Burks. He's being drugged to the ground. And then it was Ward who caught it, right? And he was like a yard short of the first down. And then he got up and signaled the first down. I was like, buddy, like a yard and a half short, man.
You're short, and also it was a forward pass.
Also, it was a forward pass. And there's a lot about that play that was just, I was like, woo, that was something out there from the Titans.
The rookie to the new guy. Forward pass across the field.
Good gracious. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. We'll have more on the Titans and the Jags coming up next. Take more of your thoughts at 615-737-1025. And we'll get into the scope of this regular season, losing 7 games in a row to close things out in 2022/2023. What does that mean for the Titans, and how does that sour the way you look at this season, given the way that this season ended? 615-737-1025. We'll have more on that next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3, The Game.
This is Colton Sissons, and this is Smashville.
Feeds now, Sissons coming on from the left circle, and Colton Sissons puts it in the net.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 102.5, The Game.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
312 Pizza Company is a family-owned restaurant located in the heart of Germantown, serving up authentic Chicago-style eats right here in Nashville. 312 Pizza Company only uses the best all-natural ingredients and makes everything in-house from scratch every single day. And trust me, you can taste the difference. They've got deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, their Italian beef. You'll taste the freshness. Stop in for a pint of local beer and a slice of pizza, or order online at 312pizzaco.com. 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
NFL Wildcard Weekend is here. That's right. It has arrived. And the easiest way to get into the playoffs is with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers, join today to get started with $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up with promo code PLAY. So don't miss out. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia, and West Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342 in Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming and Kansas or visit ksgamblinghelp.com in Kansas, 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana, 1-877-8-HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Tennessee Redline, 1-800-889-9789 in Tennessee.
TSU basketball lives on 102.1 The Ville. Join Coach Brian Penny Collins and the Tigers for every great moment in the OVC. On your home for TSU basketball, 102.1 The Ville and the Ville app.
Hey, this is Pete Weber. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Monday morning. The Titans fall 20-16 at the hands of the Jacksonville Jaguars on Saturday. They go from 7-3 with a 94% chance to make the playoffs to 7-10. 7-10 was the final record for the Tennessee Titans. You lose 7 games in a row to close out the regular season, and the Jags have won the division for the first time since 2017. And, Joe, the way that it ends, the way that the season comes to a close, beyond just the Jacksonville game, and we talked about this last week, the difference in, even winning this game, getting in the division, getting into the playoffs, even if you had lost next weekend on Wild Card weekend, there is a little bit of a different feeling than losing 7 games in a row to close out the regular season and missing the playoffs. Now that it's done and that we know what it is, and they have lost 7 games in a row, how do we kind of put that into scope as to how it happened, number one, and number two, what it could mean for this team as they move forward here in the aftermath of the Jacksonville game?
Well, what some people don't want to hear, but I'm sorry, I'll say it, is some of this is no one's fault. I mean, it's an incredible 2-year story of injuries. It's also an incredible 2-year story of injuries that if I owned this team, I would be really concerned about and wondering what the heck is going on. Don't know if you're going to find any good answers, but I'd be looking for them. The injuries were incredible. Again, just look at the IR list. It's like so many key players on this team. So that's part of it. And in that stretch, you had what did it start? It started with a really good game against the Bengals, right? Bengals, who might be in the Super Bowl. Lost 2016 to them. But obviously, it really got rolling with that Eagles loss and then the firing of John Robinson. And everything changed. 2 things, I think, changed the entire feel of everything. First of all, the Todd Downing DUI the day after the Titans beat your Packers to go to 7-3 when they looked really good. He called a really good game. At that point, you're looking at that team having just almost beat Kansas City on the road. Now you have Tannehill back. You got Henry going. This defense looks great. It looked pretty good. It was kind of like, hey, what could this team do? You get the Todd Downing DUI, so obviously that's a rough story. It's just that becomes a thing, and nothing good has happened since then. But I think the obvious other big thing is the firing of John Robinson, shockingly, 2 days after the blowout loss of the Eagles to the Eagles, and A.J. Brown, who, by the way, just set the franchise record for receiving yards in a season for the Philadelphia Eagles.
And is the, I believe, number 4 in the league in receiving yards.
Yeah. So, yeah. But then we know what happened. I mean, you could, the Jacksonville Jaguars were in here to be eliminated on December 11th. And you completely – and that's the thing. Of all the football played here in this stretch, the Eagles just destroyed the Titans. The Eagles could win it all, I think. Are the Eagles favorite in the NFC?
They are
the 1 seed. But, are they your favorite?
I don't know, man. San Francisco, even with Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I like the Niners.
They look pretty good.
Niners? That could be a good game. But either way, really good team. Better than the Titans. Kicked their butt. And then the Jaguars, the football they played when they crumbled, and I'm still arguing with people online, probably will be forever arguing with people online that, you don't put that on Amy Armstrong at all. I think you're crazy, but hey, you do you, I guess. There was a lot of actually, I'd say, good football. They rallied together, and I thought they played a good game in L.A., and they had a chance to win. But then you lose Tannehill, and we know what happened from there. I mean, shoot, the Cowboys' loss was like, hey, there's hope. Josh Dobbs can actually, they can actually pass the football in an NFL offense with him. And then in the end, I mean, there was a lot of good stuff those guys did Saturday night. I tip the cap to, like Vrabel talked a lot about, hey, other teams in this situation, I'd be breaking up fights and all this stuff. And I think that that's fair, and I think that the locker room is a bunch of pros, and I am impressed with what those guys did. But, like, I'm saying that in the midst of a 7-game losing streak for a team that's used to going to the playoffs, should have won the division. So how much solace can you really find in that?
Well, to me, how they got here, I mean, like you said, there's a long and complicated answer to that. Some of it is the injuries. Some of it, maybe you do put on Amy Adams-Strunk, especially in that Jacksonville game. The first time around, for the timing of the firing, there's a ton we can talk about. But I was looking at this morning, just going game by game through the schedule. And the Titans scored 20 or more points 6 times.
God.
6 times in 17 games.
The Lions scored 30 or more 8 times.
Yeah. 20 or more points 6 times. And the Titans, I mean, look, they end up averaging, their final number is 17.5. So they average 17.5 points per game, which only the Jets, the Colts, the Texans, and the Broncos are worse in the league.
That's a full 2 touchdowns less per game than 2 years ago.
So to me, I mean, there's a lot of different stories as to why they got here. That's the main one. Like, that's the most consistent one from start to finish this year is, I mean, what was their season high? Their season high points was 27 against Green Bay that night, and that's the last time anything really good happened for this Titans team was they scored 27. Todd Downing called a really great game that night, and then he gets charged with DUI, and then all hell breaks loose for the Titans after that. But that's the thing. You score 20 or more points in a 17-game schedule in the NFL, in today's NFL, 6 times. I mean, it's a joke how bad this offense was this year.
Yeah, it's amazing. And in the Vrabel era too. So you're talking 5 seasons, the first and the last, no playoffs. 3 straight in the middle with playoffs. In that stretch, he's had arguably the worst offense in the NFL multiple times, and also has had stretches of when it was really close to the best.
Agreed.
It's incredible. But this year, it was bad. And look, yes, there are some injuries involved there that are part of it. You finally got your quarterback hurt. He hadn't been hurt at all, but I still start with a guy we mentioned earlier in this segment. You traded away a guy who made a huge difference and gave you that balance and made you problematic for every defensive coordinator you faced because they had to account for him along with Derrick Henry. And you didn't come close to replacing that guy. And I don't know. I think Treylon Burks is going to be a good player, but he might be like a good wide receiver too in the NFL. I don't know. There's certainly right now I'm not sitting there saying, oh, yeah, don't worry, next year get ready for 1,400 yards from Treylon Burks.
I don't know how anybody could possibly say that.
So that's still where it starts to me. And that's where we can, well, shoot. By the way, we were talking about you in the press conference the other night, man.
What'd I do?
Wow. Well,
oh, yeah.
Michelle we were waiting for Vrabel to come in. Michelle brought my attention to it. Like, Robbie's getting into a brawl with somebody on Twitter. So I don't know, some guy was like, F you guys if you don't say they should have fired Vrabel or something. Or not Vrabel, Robinson. Yeah.
Robinson. I was like, what was the timing of it, buddy? But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's the thing. It's like, I still think the trade of A.J. Brown, you go back to that. It's just devastating. Terrible decision. Let me ask you this. Let's say Amy Adams-Strunk had not fired John Robinson in midseason, but this had all still happened. I don't think it would have, by the way. I think they would have beaten the Jaguars, but can't prove it. But let's say that they were in this exact same spot. Would today be the day to fire John Robinson?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
Yeah, see, I don't think so. I mean, I thought about this. I'm like, what I'd be saying is I'd let him get out of it. He should have a chance to draft a franchise quarterback, but a lot of this is on him. And it is. I mean, a lot of this is on him. But I think what happens is whoever's gone, you want to put everything on him. And it's not everything on John Robinson.
It's not. But again, I mean, the offense, we can talk about Todd Downing, and we're going to begin the 7 o'clock hour because a lot of thoughts on Todd Downing today. And quite frankly, I'm interested to see if something happens today on the Todd Downing front. We'll get into that coming up at 7 o'clock. But a couple of things. You brought up the first one, the A.J. Brown trade. I mean, it's I think we all know this. Even the staunchest defenders of the trade at the time, I think, have kind of circled back around.
Twitter fingers!
On the A.J. Brown part of it. But also some decisions that are easy to criticize in hindsight, and I get it. But the decision to pay Zach Cunningham, the amount of money that they paid Zach Cunningham, and Roger Saffold walks out the door, and your offensive line is absolute trash. Now, would that have solved the left tackle problem? No, because Taylor Lewan got hurt, and then you had Dennis Daly. So I'm not saying that losing Roger Saffold was the reason the Titans' offensive line was absolute trash all year. But decisions like that, when you look back on them, that's a tough one to swallow when you're paying Zach Cunningham the amount of money they paid him for basically nothing this year.
Yeah, and again, so go back to the firing because that's – yes, A.J. Brown. That's number one, and it had just happened, and you will never, ever talk me or I think you into this idea that wasn't a factor.
Agreed.
Right after that game. But you just laid it out. There's some other decisions. I mean, there's a lot of things, a lot of mistakes that have been made that have got him here for sure. There's no doubt about it. Let me ask you this, though, and I know we're going to talk about him later. So Robinson and Downing should both be fired? Because, I mean, you could make the case for the other one by blaming the other one.
Well, look. We'll get into the Downing part of this more at 7 o'clock, but I don't know how you could possibly bring him back. I don't know. I don't know how you could possibly do it. I'm not saying that they won't do it. To me, if I'm making the decision, I have no idea how you could bring Todd Downing back as offensive coordinator. So, yeah, I think had it played out the way that we're throwing out there and Robinson was still a part of the team, I think they would both, if I were in charge, would have been fired today.
Robbie says fire everyone. Yep. Okay. Firing everybody before we even get to 7 a.m. How about that?
Also, don't forget fire
put Matt LaFleur on the list there.
Yeah. What's that?
Just said, also, don't forget Matt LaFleur, as Robbie was saying that.
He'd be at the top of the list right now. 615-737.
He could come back here as OC.
Maybe so. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. We'll have more of your thoughts on the Titans coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063, The Game.
Every Wednesday at noon.
No matter the down and distance and no matter the score, they're going to give him the football.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
I hope that they're not throwing flags simply because the league wants to see more of it.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
They are not as good at wide receiver and the playmaking department.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon. Presented by Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars and by Edley's Barbecue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey guys, it's the new year. We popped the champagne, kissed at midnight, and it's time to make a new start. But if you aren't popping like you used to because of erectile dysfunction or low testosterone, maybe your new start should be making a call to the Tennessee Men's Clinic. You see, ED is just a medical condition affecting men of all ages. But the good news is that ED is highly treatable. In fact, the medical experts at the Tennessee Men's Clinic have successfully treated thousands of men, with ED treatments having success rates as high as 90%. And with a variety of ED treatment options, including acoustic wave therapy, they can likely find the right one for you. You might even find your cork is popping like it hasn't in years. Plus, their low T treatments are highly effective. So many men have experienced life-changing results, from increased energy to more productive workouts, feeling more rested, and enjoying a greater sex drive too. So make 2023 the year you get free of ED and low T. Make an appointment. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes a more comprehensive approach, including a testosterone lab panel and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatment sex start results vary.
Hello, Tennessee Power Hour listeners. My name is Hunter Briley, and I am with Regal Realty Group.
And my name is Richard Van Clive. I'm also with Regal Realty Group.
And we are great friends that treat our clients like great friends.
Because that's how we want to be treated.
We are also born and raised here in Middle Tennessee and support our local team.
And with an economy that's affecting everything except the real estate market, it's important to do business with friends that can tell you what's what.
From contract to closing, everything in between, we have you covered. Go to RegalRG.com to get started. And happy football season.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
When you bundle your renters and auto insurance with Progressive, you could save money, but it doesn't cover any terrible memories living rent-free in your head.
Hey, I noticed it's been a few minutes since you thought about when your quarterback ran into his own teammate and fumbled, technically forcing his own fumble, and then the other team took it in for a score, and then you couldn't turn on the TV for a month without being constantly reminded of the time your quarterback sacked himself and fumbled.
Sorry, we can't save you from that memory, but we could save you money bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Renters insurance and bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
That sound you hear is a college football fan eating Cheez-It. Listen closely. You can hear them enjoying Cheez-It crackers made with 100% real cheese. Keep listening. They're snacking on Cheez-It while they cheer for their favorite team. That's the sound of fans feeling the cheesiest. And that's how you win on game day. Cheez-It, official sponsor of the College Football Playoff.
Sometimes he gets lonely and needs some company.
10 for 17 for 45 yards in his career with one interception.
This is one of those years where it's a step back for them.
And that'll create more one-on-one situations and make it easier for him to throw the ball down the field.
It's Stillman and Company.
You've got real talent.
With Jared Stillman, weekdays from 2 to 6 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025. Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Dave from Old Hickory. Dave, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, good morning, fellas. Hey, listening to you guys talk about the Titans, I think everything you're saying is correct. There's a lot of blame to go around, and there's no blame to go around. There's a lot of that. What I would like to say, I would like to see the Titans do is they have to get that player that will move the needle. Everything you're saying about A.J. Brown is correct. And the reason why I say that is if you were watching the broadcast Saturday night, it was kind of obvious that the Jaguars were the team that was wanted to win. The excitement was there. It seems like they want a new king in the South, and his name's not Henry. His name is Lawrence. What Trevor Lawrence is doing in the last few games is just a sight to behold. I mean, it's what we're looking for in NFL football today. The Titans are playing an anachronistic style of football. I mean, when you go to the point total, when you go to the defense, there absolutely isn't. There are no players who can hold with the offenses that are out there today. I mean, you have to put up these points. You have to have the quarterback. You have to have the receivers. You have to have the offensive line that can move the chains each and every down. I mean, there's some teams you watch when every other play is a first down, and the Titans. It's like watching paint dry. And at the end of the day, this is entertainment. I mean, that's what all of these billions of dollars are for. It's for you to be entertained. I don't care how you cut it. When you're watching the Titans play, you know, there's winning is one thing, and then there's entertainment. And the Titans don't either win or entertain. So they've got to do something in that aspect. So that's where I am today with it.
Thanks for the call, Dave. I mean, look, I agree with him. I mean, the entertainment part of it, it's one thing to be boring and win. It's another thing to be that bad offensively and lose.
Right, but the only quibble I have, and we've talked about this so much, but I'll say it again. 2 years ago, they averaged 30.7 points a game with the same philosophy, right?
Correct.
They blocked, and they had really good receivers, and everything. They were a ton of fun to watch.
Right. Like, I don't think this is like Vrabel's like, you know what? We're going to be real boring to watch out there. But this is the way that
you'd be surprised how many people say that, though.
I know.
I mean, even this is a little different, but like Chuck on the text line, couldn't style of play that leads to so many injuries be considered a fault in Vrabel's part? We've talked about that one too. They do run the ball a lot.
They do.
Does that get people hurt more?
I mean, most of their injuries this year were on defense, right?
They tackle people.
Yeah.
I mean, in the NFL, you tackle people. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, look, the injuries are beyond weird. There's no question about that. Like you said earlier, if I'm Amy Adams Strunk, if she hasn't already, which I would hope that she has, I am turning over every stone and asking every possible question that it comes to the injuries, because the last 2 years have been ridiculous. But beyond that, I don't really know what else you do right now.
And on the blame game aspect of all this, what Dave's talking about. Look, again, I point to even last year when they still had AJ, it started to go the wrong way. Why? Because of choices up front that have really hurt them so badly. I mean, that's it. The AJ Brown trade is the worst thing, but the offensive line choices also have obviously, you're using high-value picks on people who aren't working out for you, and then you start going the wrong way. And also signings. And like you said earlier, Robbie, I mean, Saffold. What if he had Saffold and not Zach Cunningham this year? Just that.
Yeah. I mean, it's – like I said, it doesn't solve left tackle, but look, Aaron Brewer, to me, probably not a starting level left guard in the NFL as you move forward here. So, again, it's easy to play revisionist history there, but those are the type of decisions that lead to what we saw, and that is going from 7-3 to 7-10 and losing 7 games to close out a season. Joe from Maryland on the text line says, I said this before, this was the worst overall year as a Titans fan. Tannehill blowing the Bengals playoff game, trading the only stud receiver this team has had 15-plus years, Downing getting another chance to prove that he sucks, Lewan and Landry out for the year, losing 7 straight to miss the playoffs, another year of record-breaking injuries, firing the GM that we all thought was him, watching Dennis Daly play left tackle for 15 games, then finally getting Radens to get in there, and then he tears his ACL. Did I miss anything? 2022 Titans calendar year sucked. This is from Joe from Maryland on the text line.
Damn, that was depressing.
Was.
Hashtag is that bad. Michelle just told us during the break, too. Today is the 1-year anniversary of clinching the 1 seed.
It is. Came up on my Snapchat memories.
There we go.
That one hurt a bit. And I had just like a video, and I was like, Vrabel is so awesome. Like, first year covering the team. They're doing like a post game, and they beat the Texans. And here we are today on January 9th, 2023. Quite different.
Little bit different.
Lots happened during that time.
Joe from Maryland, you laid it out pretty well.
You laid
man.
it out pretty well. I don't know if you missed too much.
It's been some tough times for Titans fans here.
It has. There's no question about that. I got a texter that says, I'm actually thrilled we lost to the Jags. We weren't making waves in the playoffs. We get to draft before so many teams in the draft this spring.
Yay!
We get Harold Landry back as well, and we'll have a new play caller. This is from Jeremy from Cookeville. We don't know that we're going to have a new play caller. We think it's possible.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Don't know that yet.
Well, I mean, someone brings up, what about look, again, you can blame all this on John Robinson. You can. I think there are people out there who probably don't blame enough on him.
Agreed.
And just want to blame it all on Downing, and I think that's wrong. I'm not sitting here 100% that Todd Downing's going to get fired today. And is it possible that Todd Downing is just reassigned and, like Tim Kelly becomes a play caller next year?
Maybe. Could be.
Maybe they won't tell us.
Well,
see, that's the thing. If there's not something, again, Vrabel talks
that'd be
today.
Fun.
Yeah. Well, it's
like going really well around here.
Like Belichick.
I know.
It's like defensive coordinator, former linebackers coach Matt Patricia appears to be the offensive coordinator, but who knows?
I hope they try that. That'd be really fun around here.
Mm-hmm.
Fans would respond quite well to that.
Yeah.
Downing's still here. We don't know who's calling plays. Sign me up. It's awesome.
It's one of those things that Vrabel comes from the Belichick tree. I'm just saying.
He does. There's no question about that. I mean, look, it's a rough time right now. I mean, to think about all that's transpired with this team over the course of the past year, like Michelle said, you're a year ago today, you're clinching the 1 seed. Like, think about that day and telling Titans fans what all has transpired since then, from the playoff game against Cincinnati until now. It's pretty unbelievable.
That's true. I guess you could just go back to that, right? Just go back to the Bengals game.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like you're so far removed, but of course now we have plenty of time to talk about all this stuff, but you're so far removed from Tannehill isn't it discussion, because all the other things like Joe from Maryland just laid out, none of that had to do with Tannehill. But that's still kind of the fundamental question here, right? Is who is your quarterback moving forward?
Yeah, it's a great question. Shane from Dixon says, don't y'all think Amy is giving Todd the benefit of the doubt? She's got to be sitting there saying, well, look what John gave him to work with. This from Shane from Dixon on the text line, throwing the idea out there, maybe Downing gets the benefit of the doubt.
Maybe. I mean,
it's possible.
And look, if you fire a GM in season, which doesn't happen because it's freaking stupid, but if you fire a GM in season, maybe that just tells you, like, she puts it all on personnel.
Maybe.
None on coaching. I don't know.
Could be. Jim from Springfield says, it's a bad season when your team's greatest accomplishment involves your punter. But kudos anyway to Ryan Stonehouse for breaking one of the oldest records in the NFL. This is from Jim from Springfield.
Sammy Baugh.
Yeah.
We also got a Jared tweet that said Ryan Stonehouse sucks. That was a new one.
Well,
yeah, of course. Jared overstating things, can't believe it. I will say that, like, it's great to have a huge average.
He's got to get some hang time.
Yeah, the hang time is an issue. Like, he had the 55-yarder, which is great, but you have no hang time, so you get a 22-yard return, so you have a 33-yard net.
Right.
But still, that is pretty crazy. Sammy Baugh, back when, like, the quarterback was the punter too,
Yeah.
Just quick kicking all over the field, and you broke that record. Good job.
I mean, they're flashing this Traylon Burks lateral up right now, or forward pass, as a not top 10 nominee from the weekend.
Holy crap.
That's a great pass. I mean, it hits him in stride. I don't know why that's a not top 10. Look at that pass by Traylon Burks.
I mean,
what a lateral.
Look at the hits he took on that play. Vrabel's telling him something, probably like, hey, don't throw that when that happens. But it's like, so then don't have that play called.
Let's not have that called. 615-737-1025. We'll take more of your thoughts on the Titans coming up next. We'll also get into the Todd Downing situation as offensive coordinator. Will he be out as OC? We'll discuss that and more next. This is Robby and Rexrode, but first, Joe Rexrode has a word from our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook.
Yes, I do have a word from FanDuel Sportsbook because, of course, it is Wild Card Weekend, folks. So you should get in on this action on FanDuel Sportsbook. This is my official sportsbook. And if you want to get in on FanDuel right now, first of all, you've got your traditional bets and all that, but you also can have a bigger payout with the same game parlay. And if you're new, you can get $150 of free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. You need a promo code Joe102 on that. If I was looking at a parlay for this weekend, Chargers, Jags, I like Chargers. I actually kind of like the over in that game. I think that might be a fun game. I'm hoping it's a fun game. And, we'll go over on the Justin Herbert passing yards too. This is all on an app that's safe, secure, super easy to use. Again, $5 bet, $150 back in free bets. Win or lose with promo code Joe102. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner in the NFL. Got to be 21 or older, present in Tennessee. First online enrollment and wager only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now $1 free bets expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbet.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute. Disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.
That's okay. Download the Game Nashville app or go to theGameNashville.com and listen live. We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3. The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 102.5 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fansville, where the refs are always wrong and Dr. Pepper is always right. Always. Where the mountains are capped with cooler ice and children learn the 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper before they learn the alphabet. Smart. It's the one place where a man is a 6 unless he's wearing face paint. He's a 10. And where fans deserve a Dr. Pepper no matter if they win or lose. But we're gonna win. Get ready for anything to happen this college football season on Fansville by Dr. Pepper. The one fans deserve. Grab some today.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
After redshirting his first year at Ohio State, Joe Burrow spent the next 2 years as J.T. Barrett's backup. With Dwayne Haskins on the roster, Burrow didn't see much playing time and decided to transfer. LSU head coach Ed Orgeron zeroed in on Burrow and landed him. In his second season at LSU, Burrow led the Tigers to a 15-0 record, a national championship, and arguably the best season ever by a college quarterback.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
You know that feeling when your football team adds that one player with every skill they've been looking for? It's time your business knew how it felt too. LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 850 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down to the most qualified candidates so you can start hiring the right people. Go to linkedin.com/sports to post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
312 Pizza Company is home to Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
Your Game Center update.
The Nashville Predators are 2-0 to begin their 5-game road trip. Next up, they've got the Ottawa Senators tonight. Pre-game starts at 5:30, puck drop at 6:30. The Tennessee Titans are officially eliminated from the playoffs after a 20-16 loss in Jacksonville on Saturday. Today will be locker cleanout, and Mike Vrabel will speak to the media at 11 a.m. After the game, Jeffrey Simmons said that he's proud of the way their locker room responded this season.
They locked in, we stayed together as a team. I think that's what you could ask for, especially when you talk about our locker room. So much thing happened outside the locker room with on the social media and people trying to break up our locker room. And just props to the guys we had in this locker room that stuck together and we fought to the end.
The national championship game will begin at 6:30 tonight. Georgia, a 13-point favorite heading into the game. I'm Michelle Knezvik for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Tonight, your Nashville Predators continue their road trip against the Ottawa Senators. Coverage begins at 5:30 on your home for Smashville. WPRT-FM Pegram, WBUC HD2 Laverne, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
The Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive, this is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezvik here with you on this Monday morning, reacting to the Titans' loss to Jacksonville. The Titans lose 7 games in a row, and they will miss the playoffs this year in 2022/2023. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line and welcome in Chris from Atlanta. Chris, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Good morning, gentlemen. So it's a sad time in Nashville and at least down here in Atlanta. But, going on talking about the Titans, watching the game Saturday night, was I upset? Yes, I was upset that we were lost. At the same time, it was time. I think it's so many losses, you just get to the point of, all right, let's just end the season. Let's be done with it and move on. When you're looking at this team and we're judging, whether if it's J-Rob's fault or if it's Todd Downing's fault or everybody's fault, it's sort of that chicken or the egg argument. You don't know who's really to blame. I would say that's on everybody's fault. It's the entire organization. Now, play calling wise, as an OC, you're supposed to be able to take the talent that you have, and you're supposed to be able to scheme around that. And right now, what I watched in Jacksonville, it was borderline. I was watching Jeff Fisher coach the Titans again, running the ball constantly into, and playing good defense. That's all I saw. There was hardly any imaginative script plays other than what the heck Traylon Burks was trying to do, but that's beside the point. Eventually you're going to have Mike Vrabel's got to sit down and say, okay, where do we want this organization to be? And right now, I don't think that Todd Downing can do the job, because if you really look at how he's done the past few years, we've statistically been worse in the second half. Yes, he had a good team last year that we took the we took the number 1 seed. But this year's been completely different. It's been a tale of two halves, game after game after game. And I just don't see how you could sit there and go, how can I bring this guy back?
Yeah.
And expect the same results over and over.
Hey, thanks for the call, Chris.
Yeah,
it's look the watching the offense, Joe, as he points out. I'm not gonna say it was totally reminiscent of Jeff Fisher football. I mean, look, we're talking about giving your offense the best chance to succeed and scheming around your players. Like they gave Derrick Henry the ball 30 times on Saturday. He's their best player,
right,
offensively.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, exactly. So I'll play the contrarian here because it is how often do we hear it's like predictability. How do you not give it to Derrick Henry there? You pick one. You got to pick one. I think everything. Chris, I don't necessarily disagree with what Chris said. Here's a question for you. So just take Arthur Smith and plunk him on this team in this season, and say coordinate this offense. How different is it?
I think it's somewhat different. They're probably averaging maybe 19 or 20 points per game rather than 17 and a half.
Yeah, I mean, I could buy that. Yeah, I could buy that. Yeah. But Arthur Smith would still be looking at, oh, crap, Taylor Lewan tore his ACL. We don't have a left tackle.
Right.
Oh, crap, A.J. Brown's not here. We don't have a receiver who scares anybody. Oh, crap, look at the whole offensive line and what it is. Oh, crap, Tannehill got hurt.
Right.
I mean, I'll play the contrarian. The conditions for Todd Downing were abhorrent this year.
They were. Now, having said that, and I think you would agree with this, to me, even though the conditions were totally different and that the personnel obviously was way different, I do think feel of the game, I mean, it's not even close between Arthur Smith and Todd Downing. Not close. I think Todd Downing, there's no stat I can put to this. It's just the feeling that I get watching it. I don't think the feel for the game was anywhere near what Arthur Smith was. Now, and look, Arthur Smith was great with that. That's why he's a head coach now. So I'm not even saying you have to find an offensive coordinator whose feel for the game was as good as Arthur Smith's was, but I do think that's a weakness of Todd Downing.
Yeah, I agree. Arthur Smith is a better offensive coordinator than him, but I do think that some people think that he could come in here and it would just be completely transformative. It's like there are limitations. Look, there are just I heard the Keyshawn, Max, and Jay Will talking this morning about Belichick.
Yep.
It's about players. I mean, coaching's important. Of course it is. And there are certainly – you watch the Niners play and you plug in whatever scrap heap quarterback you can plug in that team. Also because they have a terrific roster, just up and down the roster. But watch what they do offensively. That is – maximizing your talent and being a step ahead of whatever the defensive coordinators on the other side. And that's not Todd Downing. I don't disagree. I'm really interested. I also don't necessarily buy that Vrabel thinks he should be fired. And it's really interesting. I think the outcome of this today is going to tell us a little bit about Amy Adams Strunk and Mike Vrabel too.
Yep. Let's go back to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Ben from Nashville. Ben, thanks for calling in.
Hey, how are you guys doing this morning?
We're good.
So I was scrolling through online, and I came across the Herd with Colin this morning, and he was kind of doing his quarterback carousel, and it had Ryan Tannehill leaving to Atlanta and Aaron Rodgers coming here to Tennessee. I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I did see this. Colin Cowherd
did
point out over the weekend that he just thought Rodgers would be a good fit here with Vrabel. I mean, look, guys, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. It's fun to talk about.
But
a little too early for that.
By the way, we'll have a ton of time to talk about quarterbacks this offseason.
Yeah.
God knows we'll have a ton of time to talk about that. But
oh, yeah.
There's a lot to figure out on that front. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be playing for the Tennessee Titans next year.
Hey, real quick, since we got into this real fast, Draft Network has a new mock draft with the Bears trading the 1 to the Colts and the Colts taking Will Levis.
Oh, yeah.
Let us all get excited.
I think the Colts are going to try to get that one. Not will, but the number 1 pick.
Maybe it's will.
No, it won't be. Oh God,
Well,
I will never hear
That'd be
the
hilarious.
Yeah, that would be.
That would be hilarious.
I'm here for it.
It is the Monday after the season is over with, Joe. And like you said, Vrabel speaking later today. Locker room clean out today for the Titans. And typically across the league, and they're already starting to roll in, we saw Lovie Smith get fired last night in Houston, which is just incredible. They just hire and fire coaches 1 year in for teams that everyone knows aren't going to be any good. But I'm glad Lovie Smith at least got to shove it to the Texans yesterday by getting the 2-point conversion.
He's just looking out for the Bears. He's looking out for the Bears there. And just shove it to the Texans.
Absolutely iconic by Lovie.
Yeah, just walk off. Here, you can take your number 1 draft pick and pound sand.
Yeah.
We're going to win this game.
How about, though, that Davis Mills throw at the end? That was pretty great.
But it's one of those things where that has already been announced. You have I think Cleveland has made a move on their coaching staff this morning. So we're getting to the time where, not their head coach, but I think one of the coordinators. I have to go back and look and see who it was. But we're getting to the time in the morning where those moves are starting to be made. And today is a day in the NFL where I would imagine throughout the league, many moves will be made today. I'd be surprised if Cliff Kingsbury still has his job by the end of today with the Arizona Cardinals. So there's a lot to discuss there. Do you think that today could be a day where Todd Downing is fired as offensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans? Are we in wait-and-see mode on that front? And if he's not fired today, what does that signal to you about the Titans and maybe the direction that they're heading?
Well, yeah, I definitely think it's possible. I know that there's some Twitter account that's like breaking news, Todd Downing. It's like Titans Twitter is sharing it. It's like, that's good. It's worth guessing, You guess that, and if you're right, you say, I say.
Yeah.
Get a little clout out of that. I think it's possible if nothing happens on the Todd Downing front, if nothing happens, and I remember last year, thought it was possible. There were a lot of questions about Todd Downing after the game. Tannehill was the guy who threw the 3 picks, but there was some Downing blame in that game too, for sure. And Vrabel, defended him and talked about red zone and third down numbers, and nothing happened. If nothing happens today, what that tells me is that Mike Vrabel has Amy Adams Strunk's ear, absolutely. If he is just going to be able to just keep his staff, and again, I don't know that he is adamant about keeping it the same. I'm not saying that, but if nothing changes, that tells me that he's running his own staff, which I know some people are like, well, he's the coach of the team. Yeah, but this owner just fired the GM in season.
Yeah.
So it tells me that it's basically all the blame is going on personnel / Robinson and very little on the coaches.
Right. Well, this is a big test of that today. Now, look, just because it doesn't happen today wouldn't necessarily mean that it wouldn't happen, tomorrow or at some point this week. But, today is typically the day across the NFL where stuff like this happens. I'm really curious to see what goes on today, what Vrabel has to say later today as he addresses, the end of season press conference here. Obviously, there's no general manager yet to be that has been named yet. So there's the GM search that you got to take care of. Lots of questions on that front. But will Todd Downing still be offensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans by day's end today? We'll take your thoughts. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We'll have more on that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Bowl season is here.
Keeps his feet out of a tackle, and it's a race now.
Catch all the action right here at 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and 94.9 The Fan.
Down the middle, right on the money, touchdown.
All the big moments of bowl season are presented by Boomba's Craft Pizza and Tap House, Pizza, Beer, Sports, headquartered in East Nashville, and by Superbook Sports.
My goodness, look out!
Bowl season is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments, so the first payment is not until spring of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Bonus days are back for pros at Lowe's. You earn points and save when you buy the top pro brands you trust, like DeWalt. Right now, you can save $100 on the powerful DeWalt 8¼ carbide tipped portable table saw. Was $399, now just $299. Join today and shop bonus days, only at Lowe's. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid through 1/20. Subject to change while supplies last. Visit Lowes.com/MVPs bonus points for details.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Let me guess. Unknown caller? You could reduce the number of unwanted calls and emails with online privacy protection. The latest innovation from Discover will help regularly remove your personal info, like your name and address, from 10 popular people search websites that could sell your data. And we'll do it for free. Activate in the Discover app. See terms and learn more at discover.com/online privacy protection.
Anyone want to tell me what happened? Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Robby and Rexrode podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to theGameNashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
I have the radio on. I'm listening to
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Jaguars have won the AFC South.
The Titans season comes to an end in Jacksonville after losing 7 in a row.
Everything seems to be on the table.
What changes need to be made?
You're going to have to draft a few positions. You may have to go sign some guys this offseason.
Keep it locked on Nashville's best Titans talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Tune in later this morning at 8:45 for your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click and win a pair of tickets to a future Preds home game. Pick to Click brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they're referred to so often. And Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Talking Titans, taking your thoughts in the aftermath of the loss to Jacksonville. Titans lose 7 in a row to close out the regular season, and they will not be headed to the playoffs. Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our buddy Adam from Portland. Adam, thanks for calling in.
Hey, man. Hey, Robby, condolences for last night, man.
Thanks, buddy.
I was pulling for you, man, and I hate Rodgers so much, and that just lets you know that, you know, that's what you do to your fans here, man. Like, you get us wanting to pull for you.
Well, I love you too, Adam.
For the Packers. Yeah. Hey, so what sucks, man, about that game on Saturday night, I felt it coming. I felt it in the pit of my gut. You could see the way calls are going in certain games. Not to say that it's a big setup, which if you read my Twitter feed, it's a big setup. But just like that, the call on the fumble, I don't have a problem with you calling it a fumble or not a fumble. What I have a problem with is that they take 8 years to review everything, and that was done in like 15 seconds. Like the most crucial call of the season for either one of us. And I was like, they showed the second replay, and they're like, it's confirmed. I'm like, damn, dude, that's way too fast. Like,
I couldn't believe
for our season to be on the line, that was weird to me. Did y'all catch the same thing?
Oh yeah, I mean, I could not believe that they reviewed it that quickly. I mean, it was like we talked about earlier, Joe. I think it was ultimately the right call. I think it was a fumble, but it was not. I mean, it was not a review where it's like, oh yeah, 8 seconds. Oh yeah, fumble. Cool.
And he confirmed too.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me, I think it was right, but that to me is a stands after like a long review. You know? I mean, no, that was weird. Weird. You know, it's the same night that it's the NFL, multi-billion-dollar industry. You can't get a freaking microphone to work for an official to tell you what the call is.
Gracious.
So, a lot of weird stuff in that place. The pool was empty, though.
Oh, unfortunately.
Thank goodness.
Nobody in the pool.
Clear water.
That time out. So, I said this earlier, Joe. If I'm making decisions, if I'm Amy Adams Strunk, to me, there's no way that I'm bringing Todd Downing back next year. And, you know, we can go through the excuses. We can go through the roster, and all that's valid. And I think there's certainly arguments to be made there. The bottom line is you scored 17.5 points a game, and your offense in the second half in particular was totally atrocious. And you can't convince me, regardless of what the personnel issues are, which there were a ton offensively this year for the Titans, you can't convince me that as bad as they were in the second half all season long offensively, that a lot of that blame does not fall on the coaching staff. So with that in mind, given all that information, I think the Titans need to go find a new offensive coordinator. I think that needs to be, you know, one of the top priorities for the Titans this offseason. And I would hope that that's what they do today.
Yeah, the second half thing is definitely it's hard to argue against that. It's consistent. It's a real issue. They were able to survive, especially early in the season. They were able to like hold on in some of those games and put themselves in position to win the division at 7-3. But it was all year long. You know, the scripted stuff was pretty good in a lot of games. First halves were like a functioning modern NFL offense. Second halves were atrocious.
Oh, they were. And like I said, we went through the schedule earlier. They scored 20 or more points 6 times throughout a 17-game schedule. I mean, it's not anywhere close to good enough. So I think the question that you've brought up a lot when it comes to the offensive coordinator is a valid one, and one that the Titans and Vrabel specifically need to ask. Do you feel like Todd Downing is your best option? Regardless of everything else, regardless of the way the fans feel about him, the numbers being what they are, all that stuff, I mean, you can make arguments on that all day long. But if you're Mike Vrabel, really we think it's his decision that matters. Maybe it's Amy Adams Strunk's decision that matters on this as well. But do you feel like he gives your offense the best chance to be successful next year? If you do, then maybe Todd Downing's back next year. If you don't, I think you need to go find whatever that best option is, whether that's Tim Kelly or whether that's somewhere else outside of the organization.
Bill O'Brien?
Well, maybe.
Yeah, some of the argument back to that from a coach would be, yeah, but trust and consistency and stability also matter. But see, that's a much easier case to make when you didn't just lose 7 straight games.
I don't buy much of the stability when you fired the general manager and lost 7 games in a row. There's not going to be stability. You're about to go hire a new general manager.
Right. Again, unless it's just like it was all the personnel people. Right. That's all them. These coaches are fantastic, and let's put it all on the personnel people, which, I mean, to me, that's not the right way to look at this. I think it's more on personnel, but yeah, you can get better at offensive coordinator. Keith from Bowling Green says Arthur Smith didn't do much with Marcus the year Tannehill took over. That's true. And there's another great example of what's more important, coaching or playing, because they had Taylor Lewan missing 4 games, and the offensive line was an absolute mess, and then it became really good. Arthur Smith gets some credit for that. That was when it was Keith Carter should be fired. Fire Keith Carter.
Jared from Spring Hill on the text line says, "You're going to upset Delicate Joe. Fire everybody, that works, yada, yada. Rexrode needs to have his own opinion instead of playing contrarian. Still don't know what Rexrode thinks about anything." This from Jared from Spring Hill on the text line.
This sounds like another Jared.
It does. I'm just throwing it out there.
Delicate. Okay, I got to find this text so I can read it myself. Delicate sense of Delicate Joe. My goodness. All right. I don't have an opinion on your text, Jared. It might be a good text. It might be a bad one. I don't know.
You'll just have to take a guess.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
I just like, ice cream and puppies.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean,
I think, sort of.
Maybe so. We'll see. Milky Pools, really Joe's thing down in Jacksonville.
Like making them milky.
I'm really interested to see what Vrabel has to say today. Look, it's an end-of-season press conference, and last year it was, what was the takeaway quote from Vrabel? Being great around Ryan Tannehill, right?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, that's what he said, and Titans basically did the opposite of that this year offensively. And not only were they not great around Ryan Tannehill, other than Derrick Henry, they were basically atrocious around Ryan Tannehill this year offensively. And so, I'm interested now that it's done. Like, it's one thing in the season, and, Vrabel talked about, a crappy streak that they were on and they couldn't get out of the other night, and he used a different word when it came to that. But now that it's done, now that the season's behind you, and that, you're trying to pick up the pieces here if you're Vrabel, I am interested to see his thoughts on everything that happened and the path forward today for the Titans. Like, is there any more clarity from his standpoint on what his role is going to look like moving forward? I doubt we get any of that today just because there's no general manager that's been hired to this point. But I think this is going to be a very fascinating press conference with Mike Vrabel later today.
Yeah. And will there be news, prior to the presser on anything?
It's a good question.
Or after the presser?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing too, like obviously these teams that fire their head coaches, that doesn't matter. But when you talk about the assistant situation, it's like I'm sure some coach would be like, hey, let me do my presser. We'll talk about everything. And then, news dump email at 5 p.m. But at the same time, then you have to sit there and answer questions about something. If it's done, then let it be done and just move on and address it. That's what should happen. That's how teams should do it.
Got a texter that says, I think the Titans need an experienced offensive coordinator that can completely run the offense based on comments made by Vrabel that he's in the meetings and here's the message and the plan, and he's okay with the call, or he okays the calls in the game. To me, he says that Vrabel puts the blame on the players, or he's not the best judge of offensive scheme and game planning. This is from an unnamed texter on the text line.
I do think that Vrabel puts too much blame on has at times this year when asked about the offense. It's like penalties and this and that players, and he doesn't put enough on the coaches. So, sorry, Jared, there's an opinion I just gave. My delicate sensibilities. Dustin from Hopkinsville said, you can say players more important than coach, but Arthur was lights out with one extra piece in A.J. Brown.
That's not one extra piece.
No. He had Jonnu Smith. He had Corey Davis. He had
an offensive line that could block.
The best top 5 offensive line absolutely in the NFL before Lewan's ACL in 2020. They were great that year. So that's just not true.
615-737-1025. We'll take more of your thoughts on the Titans. Got a lot more of your thoughts to get to on our text line, 615-737-1025. More coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
When Smashville wants to rock. Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz.
The Electronic Express New Year's blowout sale is going on now. Come into any of our convenient locations for the guaranteed lowest prices on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, Apple, KitchenAid, Sony, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop great deals in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. Electronic Express, we make it happen.
Signs First, Nashville's trusted vehicle wrap and graphics one-stop shop. From one-off custom applications to entire company fleets, Signs First delivers superior quality both locally and nationally since 1991. Be creative. Get noticed. Signs First. Go to sfnash.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
It's a new year and a new game. Robby and Rexrode from 6 to 9.
I don't know whether to be proud of you or to tell you to leave the room. Both would be appropriate.
Chase and Michelle from 9 to 11.
Did you look at what the other teams are doing?
That's a player I want to keep an eye on.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace from 11 to 2.
You're the best running back in the league.
That's one you really need to win.
This is the way we were built. And Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman from 2 to 6.
Really the greatest player in the history of the team?
It's your new weekday lineup now on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Philip Forsberg. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studio, sponsored by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Monday morning. Taking your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. James on the text line says, seems like Rode is being rather delicate about that delicate comment. Speaking delicate, how about that O-line on Saturday? Wow. Has a team ever drafted only offensive line? First time for everything, I guess. This is from James on the text line, who refers to you as Rode, which we may have to start doing here on this program.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
Hashtag Delicate Joe is what I would prefer.
Well, Rode.
Had some people who call me Rode back in the day. Gene, it's 8:30 a.m. in North Carolina. I just woke up. Is Downey still with us, or should I pull the covers up? Back to bed, Gene.
LD from McMinnville says, if the Titans bring back Todd Downing, Titans Twitter may morph into Vols Twitter, and I'm here for it. It's from LD. There is some crossover, but it may go full Vol Twitter.
No, there's been more crossover lately with the whole Joshua Dobbs. By the way, another fantastic take that I saw the other night, that the Titans did the Dobbs thing because things are going so poorly. They're trying to get some Vols fans on their side.
I saw that too. Yeah,
that's a lot like the Derek Mason tried to save his job with Sarah Fuller. Like that's that level of stupidity.
Yeah. Guys, I know we can still make the playoffs, but the fans are mad. We got to go get Dobbs. Let's go get Dobbs.
Maybe some Vols fans like us more, then maybe they won't notice we're losing all these games, because that's not what matters.
Just unbelievable. Look, on the Dobbs front, it is going to be interesting to see. I mean, he talked about it after the game, said obviously he'd love to be back here with the Titans. There's a whole lot of decisions that have to be made, in my opinion, before you get to the Josh Dobbs front. But I will say, like, I do think he did well for himself from the standpoint of, like, if you need a backup quarterback, I mean, you could do worse than Joshua Dobbs, I think, based on what we saw the last couple of times out. Now, as TD pointed out on Friday, there's roster considerations you have to think about. How do they feel about Malik Willis? I've said this before. It is going to be a new general manager coming in, and I know they just spent a third-round pick on him, but maybe they just say, yeah, that's not my pick. Sorry, he's gone. I don't know what they're gonna do on that front, how they're going to view Malik Willis
and what Malik Willis is going to look like come training camp next year after an offseason of hopefully some improvement there. But I do think Joshua Dobbs did well for himself in terms of landing a backup quarterback job somewhere, even if it's not with the Titans.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's just, it comes down to, I guess if it's a situation of, 3 quarterbacks in camp and, you're looking at maybe some kind of Dobbs Willis competing to be QB2. Is that possible?
Could be.
I certainly would put Dobbs in over Logan Woodside.
Oh yeah.
It's funny. Last week, those 3 guys were in practice, and I was watching them drill. And the one thing that you really notice when you're just having passing drills is like there's a big difference in live arm strength of Willis and the other 2.
Yeah.
There's a big difference. But that's not the most important thing. So, yeah, that's just going to be fascinating. It's just Malik Willis on his own. How do they view him?
It's a great question. Fingus on the text line. Shout out to Fingus. Was that the last game we'll see Randy Bullock? By the way.
There's just so many questions.
By the way.
He was good.
Hit a 50-yarder. Chalk a called shot up for me.
Oh, nice job. Nice job.
50-yarder
and
for Randy Bullock.
And, he had distance to spare. He was fine on that one.
He was good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think that you and I would agree that at some point, I'm glad he hit the 50-yarder. It'd be nice to have a little bit more range with your kicker moving forward, and I think the Titans should take a look at that. The list of things the Titans, that's what we've kind of discovered as the season has gone on, and as we're kind of recapping it today, the list of things the Titans need to take a look at this offseason pretty darn long. Pretty darn long
it is
for the Titans.
But, if you'd like to get one of those 2024 quarterbacks, maybe you don't address all these things this offseason.
Maybe so. Tricky Ricky from Bellevue on the text line says, hire a GM with an offensive mind to even out Vrabel's defensive stubborn mind. Fire Downing. And by the way, we got an epidemic on the text line we need to fix. And I understand that maybe some of it's voice to text, but it is Todd Downing, not Downey.
Oh, there's Downey and there's drowning, too.
It's like there's a lot of like Robert Downey Jr. spellings on the text line.
Yeah.
We got to fix it. Anyway, fire Downing and have him get the entire strength and condition team a ride, trade up to get a quarterback, and put Tannehill finally where he's always needed to be as a backup, and then start naming Dobbs as your practice squad QB. 2023 road has to be put down his purse and tell us what he really thinks. So somebody referring to you as Road on the text line.
Wait, what? Oh,
Rhodes.
2023 Rhodes has to put down his purse and tell us what he really.
Why are so many people after you?
Man, people are all over. So basically, what I'm getting from people is I have to sit here and say you must fire Todd Downing right now. Is that it?
I think that's what people are looking for.
All right. Okay. I guess I'm just going to be.
We got to do a little bit better on the text, peeps. That was a difficult one to read.
Yeah, that was there was a lot to unpack in that one. The whole thing, but with the Vrabel, defensive mindset. Again, like he was the head coach. Like I keep going back to 2 years ago, but doesn't it kind of wipe away some of these arguments? Like they are nothing but a running team. He's just a defensive coach. He's never had an offense. He's had great offensive football here.
Yeah,
when he was a head coach. And earlier texter too about like Vrabel being in the meetings. I don't know. I understand what you're saying. You want if you could have a really established OC who's had a lot of success in this league to be the OC. The problem is usually those guys become head coaches pretty quickly, but then that would be good. But why would Vrabel just divorce himself from talking to the offensive people anymore? I think he's the head coach. He's still going to be involved, right?
Yeah, I think you want your head coach to be involved in the meetings.
I think what happened was, this happened. Remember 2 years ago, same year. 2 years ago, and the offense was incredible, and the defense was terrible.
Yep.
It was like Vrabel was like talking about going into more like position meeting rooms and on the defensive side. He's the head coach.
Right.
That's my opinion. He's the head coach.
Yes, thank you. And regardless of who the offensive coordinator is, like Vrabel's going to be involved in the offense when he's the head coach, right? He's regardless of who they hire, he's still going to have say over the call at the end of the day. Like if he wants to run something else, he can still run something else at the end of the day. I mean, he's the head football coach.
Like when Downing called, hey, let's try that throw across the field from the rookie to the new guy.
Yeah.
Vrabel, I presume, was like, well, let's do it. Sounds good.
Give
it
it a
worked
shot.
great in practice against air. I'm sure nothing could go wrong.
Just give it a shot. Why not? Yeah. I mean, look, I can already tell you, and I don't know what percentage of Titans fans it'll be, but I would venture to say a pretty good percentage of Titans fans. If Todd Downing is retained as the offensive coordinator, I mean, they're going to be irate. I mean, we've been talking about Todd Downing basically all season. I mean, we talked about Todd Downing in the offseason last year after the Cincinnati game about his role as offensive coordinator and whether or not he was the right guy for the job moving forward. And now you've got another season's worth of evidence where the points per game is bad, the offense is really bad, and again, there's 1,000 different reasons that you could point to as to why that's the case. I do think Todd Downing is one of those reasons, but if they retain him, it's not going to be pretty with the Titans fan base. I mean, they're very vocal with Todd Downing and their displeasure.
We got to stop this road crap. I mean, it's like, come on.
You got another one?
This is why people like Jared Moore. Road is too professional to say what he really thinks about Todd Downing.
Too professional?
I really don't like the road thing. Yeah. I mean, I guess he's called me too
I kind of like road.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. Here's, in all seriousness, I don't think Todd Downing should call plays for the Titans next season. I don't think he should be their play caller. Should they fire him? I think now would he stay? I don't know. Could you make a case for Todd Downing to be on? I mean, yeah, I don't think you have to fire him and send him away. I don't think he should be the play caller for the Titans next season. I think, and people are asking about when it happens and what are they going to say. I mean, Vrabel's going to be asked about today whether something happens or not. It's going to be one of the dominant topics of discussion because it's that whole side of the ball is a disaster. The other side of the ball is in pretty good shape if they can stay healthy. And even when they weren't healthy this year, they were still pretty good. The offense was awful.
Yeah, I mean, the offense is a total dumpster fire, and that's with it presently constructed offensively with Derrick Henry a part of the fold, with Ryan Tannehill under contract for next year right now. I mean, there's a lot to figure out on that front too. I mean, look, we'll have all off season to discuss the quarterback part of this. I did wonder as he was walking off the field the other night, was that the last time we'll see Derrick Henry in a Titans jersey? I would lean no. I think he'll be back next year. I think that obviously he proved this year, number one, he could stay healthy. He was healthy from the foot. He stayed healthy all year long, and he ended up with over 1,500 yards. So while it's not the 2,000-yard season that he had a couple of years ago, still pretty darn good at 1,500 yards. What's it going to look like next year? I don't know. If I had to guess right now, though, I bet he's back in a Titans jersey. Just my guess.
Yeah, I would think so. But yeah, it's again, I guess if you're going to fank it, you could make the case and just try to move more good players away, try to get assets for futures, but you're not going to get a ton. And he's got a year left, and I think he'll be there. The Tannehill is the bigger question, right? Of whether he's going to be here on that deal next year or not.
615-737-1025. We'll have Corey Curtis from News 2 coming up at 8 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans and the Jags. 7 straight losses by the Titans to close out the regular season and missing the playoffs as well. That's coming up at 8 o'clock. Coming up next, it's time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 102.5 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
It's electric in Smashville. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 429 has a new path to a dignified career. Local 429 is accepting applications for the highest skilled electricians and linemen and is providing the best training in Middle Tennessee. They are the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 429. Call them at 615-889-4429 or go online to ibew429.org. IBEW Local 429, your proud seventh man since the beginning. Go Preds.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
The football playoffs are here, and nothing beats seeing your favorite team live. Not only does Vivid Seats have great NFL ticket prices, they're also the official ticketing partner of ESPN. And with Vivid Seats Rewards, when you buy 10 tickets, you get the 11th free. Download the app or visit vividseats.com today. Vivid Seats. Life happens live. Receive a reward credit equal to the average price of the 10 tickets purchased, excluding taxes, fees, and processing costs. See vividseats.com/rewards for terms and conditions.
312 Pizza Company is the official sponsor and location of Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
One is smart.
This has just been a constant trend for this team.
One is funny. That's right. Funny looking, maybe. Chase and Michelle with Chase McCabe and Michelle Knezovic.
Are you listening?
I'm listening.
Everybody's listening.
Weekdays from 9 to 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
Every morning, first thing.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment, let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
Broke Barry Sanders' record. What does that mean to you?
Grateful to be able to play this game for my great-grandfather, and I'm glad that he's looking down on me. I know I'm making him proud.
You said this ball's for him?
Yeah, this is for him. Another thing, stop playing us, man. We the Detroit Lions. We the Detroit Lions. Stop playing with us. I don't even watch TV, but I heard everybody already pick the Packers over us. Stop playing with us. That's all I gotta say, man. Don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Former.
Maybe the wildest swing of emotion I've ever seen in the history of post-game interviews last night from Jamal Williams, crying over the death of his great-grandfather and then swinging into how much of a dog he is. I will say, man, I love me some Jamal Williams. He's awesome.
That was pretty sweet.
I was watching that post-game interview last night. I looked at Ryan. I'm like, I'm using this audio for the Rex Rant. I'm using this for the Rex Rant. What an incredible interview. He just went full game mode after that.
That was something else. Yeah, and I was thinking, it's funny because I was thinking about, there's just so many different things you could do today. For example, again, Quay Walker pushing a trainer.
Idiot.
What did the trainer do? Was the trainer talking trash? Hey, I'm about to fix this ankle. Get out of my face. What? He pushed a trainer. What kind of a moron does that?
Kicked out of a winning end game for pushing a trainer. Moron.
I've never I've just never seen it. And of all weeks for that to happen. But there's that. There's the Houston Texans. Obviously, it's hard to root for the Cleveland Browns considering their choice of quarterback. By the way, Deshaun Watson's looking really good.
Yeah, looking great.
But the Houston Texans, what an absolute bleep show of an organization. David Culley, 1 year, see ya. Lovie Smith, 1 year, see ya. And that is so amazing that Lovie Smith got the 2-point conversion
awesome.
before fighting to drop them number 2. It's really amazing. But they are like of organizations that you see sometimes like the Commanders, with Major Tuddy. Like I like Ron Rivera, and I like Major Tuddy too. So even though their owner is Daniel Snyder, there's like sometimes good people get hired within organizations.
Sure.
Like for example, Lovie Smith. You can't not like Lovie Smith. Well, he's gone now. So the Houston Texans, I think, are the worst organization in sports. But my rant, or I guess my third, it's a smorgasbord for Delicate Joe today. So last night, speaking of being delicate, this kind of set me off. Leaving BNA Nashville Airport last night, and you got like credit card only, or the cash and credit card lines. Sometimes I choose that because sometimes there's a human there, and I just like paying a human,
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was still an automated. This is for parking at the airport. So this is for automated parking. So, or it's automated pay.
Yeah.
So you put your card in, and it said, okay, push the receipt. The receipt doesn't come out. I'm like, oh, come on. I need the receipt. So I'm pushing the button. I'm pushing out like all these different buttons, and it's still flashing like, receipt printing. Nothing prints.
Yep.
So I noticed that in a few feet ahead, there actually is a person in the booth, which is awesome. So I pull up, and he's just kind of, I don't know, looking at his phone or something. But I pull up, and I'm like, hey, they didn't print a receipt. Did not say a word to me. Did not say a word. Did not look at me, had a glum look on his face, and just handed me a piece of paper. I'm like, what? It's not my receipt. Let me pull this piece of paper out.
You have it?
I cannot wait to see what this is.
What does it say? Do not talk to me?
It's an email address. This is what he handed out. Without any sort of hi, here you go.
Take it.
He just handed me this piece of paper. It says Melissa, and by the way, MILISSA.Boyd, BOID at flynashville.com. This is what he handed me. I'm like, what's this? Thanks. What the hell is this? You have to email that. You
use your words.
You can't. Well, right. Use your words like you're in a job where like you deal with people, presumably, or I guess you sit in there and look at your phone. But also, you can't print out a receipt. Like I just paid. Like there's nothing that connects what you have to that thing where you could print a receipt. I mean, you can go to any crappy gas station in the world, and doesn't. In fact, it just happened to me yesterday in Jacksonville. Going to the airport, you can go in and get your receipt printed out.
Oh yeah.
But at BNA, you just get unspoken, here's an email address. Good luck to you. It's like a freaking safe room or something. This is like a damn scavenger hunt to get a receipt. What are they doing over there?
It was pre-cut. Means he's got all of them cut up in there. Just hands out receipts or hands out email addresses all day long.
I mean, look at this piece of paper. It's just like this little thin strip.
It's been cut out, yeah.
And this is like when you kidnap someone, you put little letters on there. I need $1 million in ransom. And little letters on a frickin'. I mean, what? God.
Why can I just picture you in your car just trying to talk to him and him just staring at you and just handing it?
It's been a heck of a football season for you traveling. You know that?
Ubers or Lyfts.
Ubers.
Well, I want to say.
Robberies.
I want to let you. Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, it's been fun. But I do want to say. That Delicate Road, even though I was really pissed in that moment, I was really pissed. I just said, okay, thanks.
Appreciate your assistance.
I didn't yell at the person because I can't stand people. I yelled at the person at the pizza place a few weeks ago. Not cool because he accused me of stealing. But I'm just saying, did not yell at the person. I said, okay, thanks. And I just drove away.
You probably wouldn't have got a response if you yelled at him anyway.
Well, he didn't care. He had already gone back to looking at his phone and closed the window.
Yeah.
But,
at least you got the email
so
address.
basically the job is sit in there and just hand out a piece of sorry.
There you go.
Like you're incapable. Again, how could you not be able to print a receipt out in that moment?
I have no idea.
Or just say words.
There was nobody behind me, by the way. This is Sunday night. There's no line. Like there were no other cars. Like if you're there working and it's not like you're pressed for time, you can't print a receipt out when someone just paid you money and a ridiculous amount of money to park in these structures.
I think it's more impressive that he had pre-cut email addresses that he's just ready to hand out, which suggests to me that this is an all-day thing. Like, this is not a Rexrode thing. It's like, I got a whole drawer full of printed out emails right here that I can just hand to people.
Yeah, so here's the job. Sit in there, get on your phone, get on the Snapchat, get on the TikTok, whatever.
Yeah.
And just hand out these little strips of paper all day.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. So, anyway, I will be sending an email today to melissa.boyd@flynashville.com. Trust me on that.
We wish you good luck in your endeavors to find the receipt. Byron on the text line says, Delicate Joe, with a couple exclamation points. Maddie on the text line says, or is this road rage? R-O-D, road rage.
Mm-hmm. Oh, boy.
Hey, Road.
Maybe on something there from Maddie. That is unbelievable to me. You would think in 2023, yeah, don't worry, sir. I can print that receipt up for you right now. It'll take me 5 seconds. Here you go. But instead, we just have an email slip that we will send you where you can go figure it out.
If any of you have any thoughts on this, you can also email melissa.boyd@flynashville.com. Here you go. It's a strip of paper. Here you go.
I would have paid a pretty good amount of money just to watch your face as this is all transpiring.
Again, you can't yell at the person, right? Who he didn't set this situation up. And so that's why it's like, okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks. Also, just in case you're wondering back there, maybe go put some paper in your machine. Your receipt's not printing over there. Thanks.
Yeah. But hey,
that's probably all it needs.
Maybe it's more fun.
I almost guarantee
change
that's all
the
it needs.
paper.
Just go change paper out.
Right.
Get some receipts.
And
in
apparently
there,
it's the only machine in the world that could print it out.
We'll have to have an update on this situation tomorrow as you let us know whether or not you found your receipt from Melissa at Fly Nashville.
Oh, I will.
Looking forward to it. This has been the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45. Coming up next, we'll get back into the Titans and the Jaguars. Corey Curtis from News 2 will join us, and I'm sure he will be very friendly to me to begin this next segment here as well. All that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You watch the game. We talk the game.
The college football playoff rankings, Tennessee, the #1 team in the country.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Time for the Preds Report.
Presented by Newton Nissan.
Max Hers in Ottawa with your Preds Report on this Monday. The Predators are 2-0 to start a 5-game road trip after a 3-2 win over the Washington Capitals on Friday night in D.C. Ryan McDonough scored the game winner for his first goal as a Pred late in the third period. Duchesne to Johansson into the O-zone. Pass in front. Backhand shot and a goal for Ryan McDonough. His first goal in gold makes it 3-2 Preds with 3:16 left in the third. Predators are now 2-0 to start the 5-game trip, which shifts to Canada starting tonight. Puck drop at 6:30 against the Ottawa Senators as the Preds look to continue the perfect road trip that is 2-0 so far. Pre-game coverage starts at 5:30. Then Hal Gill and I will have the call at 6:30 Nashville time from Ottawa on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
All the best car deals in Smashville start at Newton Nissan. Visit them at Newton Nissan of Gallatin or Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville.
This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
All right, folks, we got Wild Card Weekend, NFL Wild Card Weekend. The easiest way to get into the playoffs is with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Joe Rexrode here to let you know new customers join today. Get started with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. All you got to do is sign up with promo code JOE102. FanDuel's got all your favorite bets, money line, point spreads, player props, but you can combine them for a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. If I was looking at, let's say, Jags Chargers, could be Titans Chargers, instead it's Jags Chargers. I tell you what, I would be looking at the Chargers. I'd be looking at Justin Herbert over, and I'd be looking at Christian Kirk anytime touchdown. You do this on an app that's safe, secure, super easy to use. Do not miss out. Place that first $5 bet, get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with promo code Joe12. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee for a sign. Room and wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now $12 free bets. Expire 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambler problem, call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
Bonus days are back for pros at Lowe's. You earn points and save when you buy the top pro brands you trust, like DeWalt. Right now, you can save $100 on the powerful DeWalt 8 1/4-inch carbide tipped portable table saw. Was $399, now just $299. Join today and shop bonus days, only at Lowe's. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid through 1/20. Subject to change while supplies last. Visit Lowes.com/MVPs bonus points for details.
312 Pizza Company is home to Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
Now, your Game Center update.
The Nashville Predators are 2-0 to begin their 5-game road trip. Next up, they've got the Ottawa Senators tonight. Pre-game starts at 5:30, puck drop at 6:30. The Tennessee Titans are officially eliminated from the playoffs after a 20-16 loss in Jacksonville on Saturday. Today will be locker cleanout, and Mike Vrabel will speak to the media at 11 a.m. After the game, Jeffrey Simmons said that he's proud of the way their locker room responded this season.
We're locked in, we stay together as a team. I think that's what you can ask for, especially when you talk about our locker room. So much thing happened outside the locker room with on the social media and people trying to break up our locker room. And just props to the guys we had in this locker room that stuck together and we fought to the end.
The national championship game will begin at 6:30 tonight. Georgia, a 13-point favorite heading into the game. I'm Michelle Knezvik for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Game Nashville studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead. The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezvik here with you on this Monday morning, talking a very disappointing end to the season for the Tennessee Titans. And to help us do that, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our good friend Corey Curtis from News 2, who was getting on my nerves on the Twitterverse last night. Corey, good morning. How are you?
I bet he was.
Oh, man, I was a stage 9 troll, that's all.
You were. It was awesome last night. Corey, thanks for being with us this morning. Obviously, we got a lot to talk about with the Tennessee Titans. Let's just start with the game. What did you think of the game for the Titans against Jacksonville, and how much of an added sting is it when you factor in that it's a 7-game losing streak to end the regular season? It's kind of hard to fathom given where this team was.
Well, it is because, they've been so good for years at winning close games as well. And, you look back at last year and they overcame all of the injuries and were still able to do a lot of the little things to win the games. And this year, this group, for whatever reason, the little things got them. We talk about penalties, pass protection, not that they're that little, turnovers, things, you like to say that penalties and turnovers, those aren't talent driven, right? Those are things that, you take care of the football, you pre-snap, you're good, your technique, if your technique is good, you don't commit penalties. And those things got them because, you had 2 huge holding penalties that cost you points, and they were both good calls. No matter what anybody wants to say, Chig Okonkwo, I thought that 36-yard run by Henry was huge. I thought that was going to win the game for him. And then Chig holds, and it's a good call. And then you've got a turnover, and Dobbs turns it over. But did you put him in the best position in that situation where your defense has just gotten three and outs in a row? I mean, I know Kurt Warner posted some stuff on Twitter that he wasn't real happy with the play selection there. Thought that they let Josh Dobbs down. And so, there's some of that, but I look at that game and again, after everything they've been through, they did a lot of things in that game to be in position to win. They should have won the game. I mean, the pass rush wasn't good enough, but as the game went on there in the second half, it got better and better and better. And Lawrence wasn't the same guy once they were finally, getting home, and you felt like, they were going to be there. But the shortcomings in the roster in training camp and in the summer, which we noted, which were they needed another veteran receiver and they needed more depth on the offensive line, those all came home to roost. And when you lose your quarterback, it's never easy. I mean, Brock Purdy's don't pop up, just for everyone, but Brock Purdy is also playing in a really good situation, so that helps him as well. There's not a lot of quarterbacks who are going to get behind that offensive line and, be Johnny Unitas. So there's obviously there's a lot there. But like I said, in position to win the game if they just take care of the football.
So I'm going to throw this hypothetical at you, Corey, that we talked about earlier on the show. Let's say John Robinson, let's say Adam Strunk didn't perform an idiotic in-season firing of John Robinson, and right now he'd be evaluated. And we are, of course, talking today. It's Coach Firing Day. It's Black Monday, and we're talking about Todd Downing. In both of those cases, right now, first of all, would your evaluation of John Robinson right now, which I think we would certainly be talking about, be that the Titans should move on from him? And then same question in actual reality with Todd Downing.
Well, what I've said for years about John Robinson is this. All these misses that he has, and every GM has hits and misses, so he's no different from that aspect. But all the misses that he's had were glossed over because they were winning. And I said, we're going to find out, how people really feel about him, once they lose some games. And we found out they lost some games and he got fired. So, I mean, would I be looking at him? Absolutely. You can't give away two number ones. And they gave away two number ones. Flat out gave them away. He's brought in a history of injured players, and most of those moves have not panned out so great. Can we agree on that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, other than Simmons, but yeah.
Simmons, yeah. No, I mean, he's it. I mean, and it was like Simmons was the blueprint. Well, we brought this guy in because that's an old Patriot adage, is getting distressed assets, and you get them for cheap, and then, you bring them in, and then they're, that works for you. And I understand going after distressed assets because it's hard to, people just don't give up really good players. So I get all that. And I was all on board with bringing in Bud Dupree. So I get all that, but that's part of the evaluation process. But for me, ignoring obvious needs of the football team, I don't understand. And so I would be evaluating that. And then the other thing that I would do is I would say, before I made a decision on what I was going to do, I'd say, what are you going to do about it? What's your plan? How do you fix this football team? It's much like I think you guys asked me about about David Poyle last year. What's your plan? What's your solution to fix this? And if I still believe in John Robinson, if I believe in his plan, we move forward together. If I listen to his plan and I'm like, going back into next year with Dennis Daly as the number 2 left tackle just isn't realistic. We got to get somebody with a more realistic view of this football team. Then I would probably move on from him. I think this is the more responsible, reasonable time to do that, as you said. But I think absolutely, scrutinizing John Robinson. And look, I know the run they've had, and I know the wins that they've had. But they've done a lot of things that have glossed over some really bad moves. And they're not in the best salary cap situation, regardless of what Jared says about the cap being real or not. We're looking at roster cuts, and the only reason we're looking at some roster cuts is because there's a cap.
Well, Corey, to that point on Todd Downing, what do you think are the chances that the Titans do make a move at offensive coordinator, maybe even today?
Yeah, I forgot about.
No, you're good.
I've got you firing multiple people today, Corey.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was already fired right now, guys. I mean, being realistic, I can't imagine that he makes it past today. There's no scenario where I imagine he makes it past today.
Well, building on that, Corey, I mean, there's so many things that we don't know in terms of decisions that the Titans have to make this offseason. And we've talked about the different paths of, are they going to rebuild? Is it going to be running it back with the same group that they have? And we don't know who the general manager is going to be. How much does the way that the season ended with 7 consecutive losses maybe influence the way you view that if you're Amy Adams Strunk and Mike Vrabel?
This will sound probably wrong and weird. I don't care. Because you know why you lost those games, to me. Your offensive line was completely substandard, and you didn't have your starting quarterback. And there are not a lot of football teams in this league who are going to be in position to win games with 0 starters or maybe 1 starter on their offensive line left and onto their 3rd quarterback of the season. And you could argue 4th because Logan Woodside got taken away, and if he had been, he would have been the starting quarterback. There's not a lot of scenarios where that wins. I'm not going to be all upset about that. What I am going to be upset about is how do we get to this spot? Where are the shortcomings in so we don't get to this spot again? So they were 7-3. All right, they were 7-3, and ifs and buts and candy nuts. The Jets were 7-3 or whatever. I understand that, but we all know what's holding the Jets back. One position. You're not going to tear down the Jets, and take away all the good pieces they've got because Zach Wilson is horrendous, and Joe Flacco's 90 years old, and he can go play for the Colts next year.
Nice.
So I just think it's short-sighted to look at it and go, well, we lost 7 in a row. Everybody's got to go. There's a lot of pieces on that defense that are good. All right. Do they need some help in the secondary? Yeah, they do. Front 7's pretty good. You're going to get Landry back. You got to find a way to bring David Long back. Monty Rice looks like he can be a player. I mean, that guy's a high-energy player who can bring it. I don't see any reason Zach Cunningham needs to come back for this football team, and you can save a bunch of money, in that regard. I mean, to me, and I will hold to this, you got to figure out your quarterback situation. That's number one. Are you bringing Tannehill back again or not? And if you are, you're reworking this deal and making it a 2-year commitment. That's the first big decision. And no matter what, you're revamping your offensive line. And you got to bring in at least 1 more receiver, if not 2, because you're probably going to let Robert Woods go as well. You've got guys who can play. I mean, I think Derrick Henry's a pretty good player. That's just a hunch. I know Traylon Burks has got to stay healthy, but I think he can be a good player for you. Chigakonkwo looks like he's a pretty good football player. I think you can get. They got a decision to make at Austin Hooper. And I think that they'll probably need to bring in another tight end. But, I think gutting the whole thing and starting over. And I guess if you did that, if you started over at quarterback, that's pretty much paramount to gutting the whole thing, I guess. I don't know. But I just think, saying the whole thing is a failure is ridiculous.
Well, yeah. Now, but what you just laid out there, Corey, is a retool. And I guess you lay that out, and I look at the AFC playoffs right now, and I see Mahomes and Allen and now Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert and all that.
I know where you're going, and I'm right there with you.
So that's the question, right? Like all the things you just said, and I think the biggest question within that question is, can you actually fix the offensive line as much as it needs fixing in one off season? But let's say
the Kansas City Chiefs released 4 starters to get Patrick Mahomes, his new deal. They replaced 4 starters in 1 year, and it was ugly for half a season, but they got it together. If you get the right people and you got the right coach, you can get some big bodies in there, certainly to be better than what they had this year.
So that retooled team, because to me, if you're doing that, then you're saying this team can compete in the AFC. Can it?
Well, I think the big question is quarterback, because I think you bring up the ultimate point, is that you've got Herbert, Mahomes, Allen, Burrows, and those guys are all awesome, right? I mean, and that's what you're looking at. That's what Belichick's looking at. That's what the Jets are looking at. That's what everybody in the AFC is looking at. And they're looking at their guy saying, can we possibly compete with these guys with our guy? And, so if you go into the draft thinking, well, maybe if we get, Will Levis, will that work at 11? Is that possible? You can't go in guessing. You can't. You got to be thinking this guy's the stuff. All right. And just plugging in Derek Carr doesn't solve it. All right. We've seen what Derek Carr is. He's not on the level of those guys. So if you're asking me if you would bundle picks to go after the number one pick, yeah, I would. If I could come up with a stomachable deal and I thought that Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud was the stuff and was going to put me on a level with those guys, I would absolutely do it, because it is much easier to replace a left guard at another spot than it is a franchise quarterback, okay? And so, that's why I say the biggest question they have is quarterback. Tannehill can play, but what was the name of the quarterback in draft day?
Oh, gosh. The dude from Wisconsin.
Brian Fry or something like that?
God, what was his name? Somebody, the text line will eviscerate us.
He's kind of that guy. We think he can play, but they've never really won anything. And, now he's coming back from injury. And that's the other thing. We don't know how bad this ankle is. We don't know how much recovery he's going to take, in the off season. So I think that's the number one question, is how do you compete at that position? Because in the AFC, you're not just – here's the really scary part. You're not just loaded at quarterback in the AFC. You're loaded with young quarterbacks who are going to be there for at least another 10 years. I mean, it's like waking up to a nightmare at 1 a.m. and knowing as soon as you go back to sleep, it's going to be right back there again.
Yep, it's a really tough spot to be in. Corey, great stuff as always. Really fascinated to see what Vrabel has to say today, and we're in for one heck of an offseason for the Tennessee Titans. Thanks for being with us.
Okay, and you know what? I know I'm not just going to rail on the Packers.
Yeah, you are.
Because today is a great day. But I think it's funny how the three of us have this discussion all season long. And I know Joe says he hates the Lions, but I'm not going to let him off the hook. All three of our teams missed the playoffs. And not only does my team miss the playoffs, we're picking first.
That is true. It's amazing.
Bear down.
It's amazing. Thanks, Corey. Appreciate you.
Hey, Corey.
All right. It was glorious last night. So, Joe, cheers to you. I think I owe you a bottle of champagne for your non-Lions.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, I'll take it.
Appreciate it. Corey Curtis from News 2, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game.
Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
When Smashville wants to rock.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Looking to the sky to save me, looking for a sign of life, 'cause it's too cold for you here.
We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz.
Hey Nashville, TJ Anderson here. With real estate listings, you have to read between the lines. Like waterfront property, more like a mosquito farm. Pride of ownership, they're really proud of the DIY job they did. Seller says sell? Really? I thought they just put it on the market for fun. My team at TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty is ready to help both home buyers and sellers decode the market. Oh, and if it says don't let this one pass you by, it's probably on wheels. Google TJ Anderson Homes, read our reviews, and see why we are referred for a reason. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, 615-432-2919.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. Being arrested doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. Being served with custody paperwork doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. It may feel that way, but if you have Amanda J. Gentry representing you, you can feel confident that you're going to have the best quality representation in all of Middle Tennessee. Amanda J. Gentry goes wherever justice demands. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm your friend's lucky jersey that's never been washed, and I'm stanking up the back seat, overpowering all of your senses, so you don't see the brake lights up ahead. And if you have cut rate car insurance, you're going to be all out of luck. So switch to Allstate, save $744, and get protected from mayhem like me.
Average annual savings of new customers surveyed in 2021 who reported auto savings when switching to Allstate. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame and on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville.
Hey!
Oh yeah, and like us on Facebook too. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
On 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Yeah, man, it's the tough part about this business, the tough part about losing the last game of the year, especially, in the win and in type situation. Like you said, we used to, putting that T-shirt and hat on, so it's just tough, man. But like you said, it's the way the business go. A lot of guys not going to be here. Some guys will be back, but who knows, man. It's going to be a lot of questions that need to be answered with this franchise period. So we'll see what happens in the next few months.
That was Kevin Byard after the game on Saturday. The Titans fall 20-16 at the hands of the Jacksonville Jags, and they lose 7 in a row to close out the regular season. Interesting stuff from Byard there. There'll be a lot of questions that need to be answered with this franchise, was the quote that Kevin Byard threw out there. So obviously, he's right. There's a lot that's going to happen with the Titans this offseason, and who knows, maybe some of those questions start to be answered today, as Mike Vrabel is scheduled to speak to the media a little bit later. Jacksonville wins 20-16 on Saturday night. Joe, you were there for the game. What did you make of the game for the Titans and the loss to close things out with a 7-game losing streak to end the regular season?
Yeah, it was another one of those, kind of like Corey Curtis said just there. During this stretch, they actually, I think, had quite a few performances that were, given the circumstances, were pretty good. I mean, you have to, everything you say about the Titans at this point, it got to, given the circumstances, of course, they were as healthy as they've been a long time in this game and still missing all kinds of players. A very good effort. They had the plan. They were in position. I thought they were absolutely winning. I thought they were winning the game going into it. Vrabel said he thought they were winning the game all week. He thought they were winning the game all night. I thought the same thing. And they found a way to lose, and that's the thing about the 7-game streak. They've had quite a few, I'd say, decent performances to, at times, encouraging performances given the circumstances, but they have become the team that finds a way to lose. And it starts with the very first loss. I mean, just change that and make another play or two, and you beat the Bengals, a team that could win it all, and none of this happens. But you lost that close game, and then we know what all happened. You had some ugly ones, Eagles, Jags, but like the Chargers game was, I thought was kind of like one of those rally up moments, and so was the last game. Even the Cowboys game was the 27-13 loss, but it was encouraging because you kind of found an NFL quarterback to run your offense for a short period of time. I mean, it would have been an incredible story if Joshua Dobbs could have pulled that off. And that's the thing. I mean, he was the story, I think, for a lot of the game, just some of the plays he was making. And 17 days after being signed off the Lions practice squad, but then, of course, he has the 2 turnovers that lead to 10 points that lose the game.
Yeah, like I thought the way the game was playing out on Saturday, particularly in the first half, like I thought it was a formula that it would be a very Vrabel/Titans win with the way that roster is presently constructed. I mean, Dobbs was playing well. I mean, look, the touchdown pass he threw that's a heck of a throw by Josh Dobbs on that play. And then you get to the second half, and even though your defense is playing pretty well for the most part, your offense just can't get anything done in the second half. And I read it off earlier, Joe. They finished the season averaging 17.5 points per game, which only the Jets, the Colts, the Texans, and the Broncos are worse. So just think about those teams for a minute. The Jets and that quarterback situation. We know about the Colts and the Texans, and then Broncos country, let's ride, closing things off down there at the bottom of the league, who've already fired their coach this year. I mean, it was just an abysmal offense all year long, and an abysmal offense in the second half on Saturday in Jacksonville. Couldn't get anything going, and then you've got the fumble, the scoop and score, obviously the interception by Dobbs as well, and as you said, that's 10 points right there, and that's the difference in the game. We've talked about the fumble a couple of different times, Joe. I thought the call was probably right. I mean, the ball is moving. He gets it knocked out of his hand. I know he does launch it about 11 yards forward after that, but the ball's already moving. So I think the call was right. I thought it was a joke that they did not take a longer look at that play on replay.
That's weird. I mean, it really is bizarre. Call confirmed. Thank you. Extra point. You can't mess up this extra point. Like, of all the trivial 8-yard receptions, did he get the second foot down in the second quarter of a freaking third week of the season that take 20 minutes to look at? And then in a game that determines the division, you're just one glance at it. Yeah, that's good. All right. Yeah, there's nothing that we need to really slow down there. And that's fine. Yep, go ahead. Sounds good. I mean, I hate the conspiracy stuff. It's dumb. Like, the league doesn't say this team must win. But for people who do think that stuff exists, there's some fuel for you.
Well, like, just take a look at it. I mean, they take a look at the most obvious replays for like 35 seconds. It felt like that was so quick on that replay. They were showing, I think, the replay for the second time on the broadcast, and you just heard in the background, after review, calls confirmed out there. And you're like, geez. They just started looking at it. What's going on over here?
The broadcast guys were going to have like a night, go through it. And again, it is close. It was close. It was really close. I think they got it right, but it's really close. But, yeah, just snap your fingers. It's fine. So I expect all replay reviews to be like that. To your point on the offense, they did – the first drive of the second half was a good drive. I mean,
it was.
They went 45 yards. They got a field goal, but then you go 5 and out, 4 net yards, 3 and out, -2 net yards, 3 and out, 9 net yards, and then your next possession is the fumble to let them win the game. And the 5 and out, by the way, was the pick that was underthrown to Burks on the sideline. So. Just the same story with that offense. That's one thing that's been consistent. All the different personnel, the different people who have played for this team, really start to finish, second halves of games have been bad for this Titans offense. And that's just not a good reflection on Todd Downing.
It's not. And will there be some news on the Todd Downing front today? We'll get into that coming up next. We'll put into scope the 7-game losing streak for the Titans to close out the regular season and what all could be on the table for the Titans as they move forward here. All that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes!
Tune in to Robby and Rexrode every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yossi.
Matt Duchene. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. if you missed the latest from Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
When I saw Josh Allen, one of the toughest quarterbacks in the NFL, with almost a catatonic stare on the bench last night, when I saw Joe Burrow, the coolest cat in the league, completely bedazed and bewildered, I knew we couldn't play football anymore. I don't know when we can play football again. I don't know if we can play football this week. I don't know if Buffalo can play football this week. That's not for me to decide. But last night I felt like we had all seen something we had never seen before, and it was really, really tough to watch. And as I said at that time, all I wanted to know was how the young man was doing. And right now, that's really all I'm thinking about, too.
Tune in Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I can go from 0 to 60 way too fast.
Who knew electric vehicle owners were having so much fun?
20 or 30 years ago, I owned a gas sports car, and this car is much quicker.
It's a great, fun car to drive. When you put your foot on the accelerator, it just goes.
They're fun, they're fast, they're efficient.
Visit driveelectrictn.org to learn how you can start having fun driving an electric vehicle.
Sponsored by the East Tennessee Clean Fuels Coalition, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Welcome to Smashville, home of your Nashville Predators. Join us at Bridgestone Arena Saturday, January 14th as your Preds take on the Buffalo Sabres. Monday, January 16th for Firefighter Appreciation Night against the Calgary Flames. And Tuesday, January 17th against the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's 3 games in 4 days, so grab your gold and get ready to cheer on the boys because there's no place like Smashville. Purchase your tickets today at NashvillePredators.com/tickets. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Let's go, Preds!
Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey Nashville, Chef Phillip at Bar Lines at the Omni Hotel. Come try some of our new menu items like the Nashville Hot Fish and Chips, Nathan's Hot Dog Burn Ends, or the Nashville Chicken Jam Band. Go Preds.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 1025 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
312 Pizza Company is the official sponsor and location of Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
Can't get enough Vanderbilt basketball?
Intercepted right all by himself for a one-hand flush.
Your home for the Commodores is 93.3 Classic Hits.
Put it up. It's good. Count it.
Join Coach Jerry Stackhouse and his team on their journey through the SEC.
Pulls a trigger. Yes, from 3.
Check out Vandy Hoops on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Hey Nashville, this is Laura Rutledge from the SEC Network, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studio, sponsored by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. Taking your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Joe, lots of things on the table for the Titans. Do we think Todd Downing could be fired today? Mike Vrabel's going to speak a little bit later. We heard from Corey Curtis earlier this hour, who talked about it. He just really can't see a way that Todd Downing makes it past today as offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. I'm not going to say that I can't see a way that it doesn't happen. My expectations are that he will not be the offensive coordinator. That's just a guess from me, not reporting anything, obviously, but just a guess that Todd Downing will not be the offensive coordinator. What do you think the chances are that we see that move made today?
Well, I think there's a chance, but I disagree with Corey. Like, I don't see a way. I see a way. And again, what if it's, look, Mike Vrabel, I'll be Mike Vrabel talking to Amy Adams-Strunk.
Okay.
I like Todd Downing a lot. I trust him. He's a great coach. He's great with the players. We had a terrible personnel situation this year. So Tim Kelly is going to get a chance to call plays next year. Todd Downing, I want him on my staff. So in that scenario, you don't have to say anything today. You can be just Twitter raging for months.
Could be.
Because they're just no staff changes. And
could be.
I actually kind of think Vrabel might enjoy that, actually.
Well, you got one thing right. There will be some Twitter raging that takes place if that happens.
And look, or maybe it's not even. Maybe I'm going too far. Maybe it's just no. Todd Downey's the OC. I mean, look, go through all the players missing. No, Todd Downey's the OC. Here's the thing about this that we haven't talked about, because it's like we talk about fans, media. We're over here on the outside looking in, and there would be just a lot of rage from fans if nothing happens. What would the players in the locker room think if they go status quo? The defensive players on this team this year handled it really well. There was subtext in a lot of comments. It was like, hey, we give up one TD. That's too many. We gave up the play. We gave up 17 points, lost a game. Lost 17-14. We can't give up that many points. Like, they never dipped into finger pointing the offense, but like the frustration was very obvious and very justified.
Of course.
Completely. I'm sure a lot of players like Todd Downey, but do you think that the players in the locker room would be excited about status quo on the offense?
No, I don't. And here's the other thing that has kind of been pushed aside until now that I'm just thinking about it. I mean, the DUI thing's not going away. I mean, I would assume if this plays out the way that it could play out, he's going to be facing a suspension next year at some point. I mean, does that factor into this at all?
He could be. He may not be. He may not get a suspension. But, yeah, it's
he may not.
It's a
I
possibility.
don't know how you could do that if you're the NFL, given prior history. But, yes.
Yeah, the NFL.
That's true.
Yeah, it's the NFL. But, yeah. No, you're right. And that's something to keep in mind. And, look, it's – yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that that's not in the discussions, like, from Amy Adams Strunk as she looks at this situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a part of the decision. Now, ultimately, it comes down to, do you feel like he's the right man for the job on the field? I mean, that's how the decision is going to be made. Yeah. I'll say this. I would not bring him back. He would not be the offensive coordinator if I were in charge. I also think there are a lot of Titans fans, based on responses I got over the weekend, that just think it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to be fired. And I don't know that I believe that either. Like, I do think there's a chance that he's back as offensive coordinator next year. And again, it's not what I would do. I would go in a different direction. But I'm not the one making the decision. Mike Vrabel is making this decision.
Yeah, and it's a different situation, but just remember, everybody wanted Shane Bowen fired. Shane Bowen might be getting a head coaching job here before too long, because he has proven very good at the job of defensive coordinator. Also, he had a real personnel issue 2 years ago, and they fixed it. So it's players over plays, to quote Vrabel. Megan says Todd Downing gets a lot of hate in this city, and has said he's received death threats. He told Maya side on that he did say that to the police. I know it's never good to lose your job, but he might be a bit relieved to get out of Nashville. Look, the absolute most hated and most blamed and most judged person in sports is the offensive coordinator of the local football team, college or pro.
Oh, yeah.
I think OC is worse than being a head coach when it comes to that stuff.
Well, just because, and we've talked about this, we see what your play call is, right? Like, okay, that's the play they decided to go with right there.
It didn't work, and you're an idiot.
That didn't work. I mean, and, it's a very public display of your work that gets put out there. So I think there's definitely something to that. I said this earlier this year, and I stand by it now. I realize there are a lot of circumstances that have contributed to why the Titans are where they are, whether you want to talk about blown signings or blown draft picks or injuries, whatever you want to talk about. But the bottom line is the Titans offense has been going significantly the wrong way the last 2 years, and this is a results business. And look, I'm sure in almost every scenario where a coach gets fired in the NFL, you can point to this or that and say, well, what am I supposed to do with this? A lot of times people don't get the benefit of excuses. And I don't think Todd Downing is going to get the benefit of an excuse in this time. I mean, it's 2 years in a row where the offense has been on a steady nosedive.
Yeah, and with him, it's 3 seasons of underwhelming results. I remember it's funny because going into last season, remember we're like, okay, people are all down on Downing because of the one bad season with the Raiders, but there was a lot that went on there.
Yep.
Okay, well, he has got an absolute Ferrari at the controls here. Julio and AJ, come on, and there were some things out of his control last year too. I mean, the offensive line was problematic last year. Lawan came back too early, whatever, all that stuff. There were some things that were out of his control, but still, it's 3 seasons now of results that are uninspiring. Now, how many seasons do you get?
Yeah,
of that.
It's a great question, and typically the answer is not very many in the National Football League. Now, again, what will it tell us? What will it tell you if we get through this process and Downing's still on the staff and he maybe even still offensive coordinator? What does that signal to you if that's the way this plays out?
That Amy Adams Strunk looks at this as purely, it's John Robinson, the personnel folks. It's on them. It's not on the coaches, and that basically Vrabel runs this place. And again, I'm saying that not knowing. I don't know that Vrabel doesn't on his own think that they need a change. I don't know that. I'm just saying if he's back, then I absolutely think Vrabel will have to fight for him to be back.
Yeah, I think what you brought up earlier is a really interesting point to think about. Like, if you're a player in that locker room, knowing full well that there are going to be some big changes this offseason. I mean, regardless of what quote-unquote direction the Titans take, there are going to be some big changes and some guys that aren't here anymore next year. So you know that anyway if you're in that locker room. I do wonder, what would it signal to you if the coaching staff is just back and everything's all hunky-dory next year with the coaching staff after you lost 7 games in a row to close out the season?
Yeah, again, it all adds up to it's all the players. I mean, when you fire John Robinson, it's like this roster stinks. These players aren't good enough. Vrabel asked about these things. He goes to execution, penalties, things like that. I mean, it's saying the statement is the coaches are great. There's nothing wrong there. They've been perfect. It's the players who are the issue. That's what the statement would be if there aren't any changes. Look, ultimately, I will be surprised. I think there's absolutely a chance. I'm keeping an open mind on wherever it could go. I'm done with the John Robinson in the hot seat. Come on. I'm keeping an open mind. Ultimately, I will be surprised if nothing changes with the coaching staff.
Yeah, I would be too.
7 straight losses. There's plenty of blame to go around.
It's a heck of a way to end the season. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Let me tell you about my friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. NFL Wildcard Weekend is here, and the easiest way to get into the playoffs is with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers join today to get started with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. All you have to do is sign up with promo code ROB. FanDuel has your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. Plus, you can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same-game parlay. The Bengals taking on the Ravens in the first round of the playoffs. I would go Joe Burrow over on passing yards and the Bengals to win. But you can take it any way you want to take it. Just make sure you do it on FanDuel Sportsbook on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Football fans, don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with promo code ROB. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. Coming up next, time for Pred's Pick to Click. Be the first caller at 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. If you guess the goal scorer for the Predators tonight, you'll win a pair of tickets to a future Nashville Predators home game. We'll do that next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3, The Game.
Your home for the MTSU Blue Raiders is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Every touchdown.
Yes, touchdown.
Every three.
Free ball, yes, sir.
It all lives here.
Middle Tennessee.
You can also hear the Blue Raiders in the Borough on 97.5, Middle Tennessee Athletics on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's John Tesh. You want to know how to get better rates, better coverage, and better service on your home and auto insurance? Work with Zander Insurance. I know it's a big promise, but this team delivers. They've been around for almost 100 years and have earned the privilege of representing dozens of insurance companies so they can shop, compare, and find you the best options available. More options mean more savings, and in many cases, better coverage. But it doesn't stop there. Each year, they review your coverage to make sure your rates stay competitive. Nobody else does that. And when it comes to service, just check out their ratings. Zander is one of the top agencies in the industry, and they earned that spot with their commitment to making sure their clients are taken care of like family. That's what sets them apart. Go to Zander.com for quick online quotes or call 800-356-1780 for that personal touch that you've been missing.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter. But it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Coration CBD products. Coration began as our family's mission to provide the Nashville community with locally and organically sourced CBD products. We are passionate about providing high-quality CBD products for everyday use. Tinctures, topicals, and pet products too. We are a Pick 10 company. Our hemp is organically grown and produced in Nashville, Tennessee from sustainably sourced non-GMO genetics. All of our products are lab tested. Find all of our products at CorationCompany.com.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured, so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
312 Pizza Company is home to Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
A show that lives and breathes sports.
Focus in, focus in, focus in.
From the SEC.
Credit to the Alabamas, the Georgias, and the Ohio States of the world.
To the Preds.
They've been in a lot of really tight games, but they're not winning enough of them.
To the Titans.
He's talking about what this franchise has built over the years.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
What is this? Check it out.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. It's time for Preds picks to click.
And a shot at the score.
Do you think you know who will score a goal in tonight's Predators game?
Little give and go.
Shoot your shot for a chance to win Preds tickets. Call 615-737-1025 now. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are preferred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. It's Pick to Click, now on Robby and Rexrode.
And it is that time of the day. Time for Preds Pick to Click here on Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. Preds in action tonight, taking on the Ottawa Senators at 6:30. Pregame at 5:30 here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. And the standings are as follows. The listeners and myself still tied atop the standings at 9 correct answers apiece. Joe Rexrode with 8 correct answers and Michelle Knezovic with 6. So a very tight competition in Preds Pick to Click. With that in mind, let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Mark. Mark, thanks for calling in. Who is your Pick to Click tonight for the Nashville Predators?
Good morning, guys. I mean, with our high-powered offense, it's such a tough choice, but I gotta go the easy route and pick Forsberg.
Going with Philip Forsberg. Mark, thanks for the call.
That's it. Thanks, guys.
All righty. Mark going with Philip Forsberg in the competition. Michelle Knezovic, you were up first today. Forsberg is off the board. Your pick to click tonight for the Predators.
Okay, I said this last time. I said I'm going to pick Cody Glass and Tommy Novak is going to score, and that is exactly what happened. I've been going with the young guns. So give me Tommy Novak. Please score tonight and get me a little bit closer to these guys because I'm falling a little bit behind.
Going with Tommy Novak. So Forsberg and Novak off the board. Joe, I'm going Matt Duchene. I'll take number 95 in the competition. You were up last today, Joe Rexrode. Forsberg, Novak, and Duchene off the board.
Is this because the Lions beat the Packers?
Yes, it is.
Retribution. Wow, look at that pick.
That one didn't count.
That one didn't count, but still. So he has 4 picks on Aaron Rodgers this year. Is he a rookie?
Yeah.
My goodness, talking trash too. Let's see. Yeah, I don't appreciate the Forsberg or Duchene picks, but it's not easy. Novak's an interesting one. I could just
go with a young guy, Rex.
I mean, I've tried Cole Smith in the past.
You have.
I could go Parson. Maybe Jeannot gets off the schneid at some point.
Is there anybody else on the roster you'd like to list before you make your
I
pick?
could go through the entire roster if you'd like me to go ahead and do that. Yeah, Parsonen.
You so Parsonen, the selection from Joe Rexrode. So Forsberg, Novak, Duchene, and Parsonen, the selections in Preds Pick to Click, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. Preds going for win number 3 in a row on the road trip. So you get outshot $1 million in Carolina, and then pretty good win for the Predators on Friday night in Washington. Really nice goal from Ryan McDonough to score his first as a member of the Preds, and the Preds going for 3 in a row tonight as they take on the Ottawa Senators. Speaking of that, you can join us here at 102.5 The Game this Wednesday night at Nobles, located at 974 Main Street in East Nashville, for a Preds away game watch party as the Preds take on the Toronto Maple Leafs coming up at 6:30. Come watch the game, get some Preds swag, and also enter for your chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. Again, that's on Wednesday night as the Preds take on Toronto. Joe, final thoughts on the Titans, their loss to Jacksonville, and what we expect to hear from Mike Vrabel today as he addresses the media in the aftermath of the regular season coming to a close for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, one thing that's interesting about today is most of this show has been about, I'd say, Todd Downing. I mean, how much of this show, what percentage of this show was devoted to Todd Downing? Pretty big percentage of it, I'd say.
57%.
Okay. I mean, I think that's going to be a lot of the discussion. That just the offense in general. And I don't know what to expect. I mean, that's going to be the dominant topic of discussion, and there may be news before, delivered by, delivered later, or not delivered at all because there is no news. So that's going to dictate, I guess the tone of the discussion. But it's going to be interesting, and there's a lot to talk about. I mean, again, the other night, Vrabel expressed a lot of appreciation for the players and what they went through, and I think I'm impressed with how the Titans battled even through 7 straight losses. But they became that team that kind of just found a way to lose games, and it was so different. The close games record under Vrabel, I don't know exactly what it is now, but boy, did that take a hit down the stretch.
Oh yeah.
Why? Look, of course, why you're missing a player here, and here, of course, but still. Is there something else, that needs to be addressed, needs to be fixed, in particular from a coaching perspective? I know, again, everybody's going to say Downing, but I think everything should be on the table when you have a stretch like this. And, of course, this is actually a crossroads.
Yeah.
Vrabel used that term earlier, and it didn't go well from there.
But
for the franchise, with the direction – and a lot of veterans and just really like what you want to do to try to get into that top tier of the AFC. You were the 1 seed a year ago today, and now you're looking at all these teams that have much better situations than you do. That's a crossroads.
Well, that's a crossroads, and ultimately, Joe, we're going to get to this a lot throughout the season. The quarterback. What are they going to do at quarterback? Is Ryan Tannehill going to be the quarterback next year? Is Malik Willis going to be in consideration to be the starter next year? Is Malik Willis going to be on the roster next year? Did Joshua Dobbs play himself into a position where maybe he's your backup quarterback? There's a lot of questions to answer on the quarterback front. You know, with Tannehill, I would agree 1,000% that when you start listing off the problems for the Titans this year, he is way down the list. He played, I thought, pretty well given the circumstances, that there was basically zero pass protection in front of him, and his weapons were as poor as he's had offensively since he's been here as a member of the Titans. I think he played pretty well. But it's also a crossroads with that. You can get out of his contract. It's not pain-free, but you can get out of his contract this offseason. And do the Titans want to take a shot at trying to find their franchise quarterback, whether that's via the draft this year, whether that's via a trade that right now I just can't really see right now, but things happen in the NFL offseason. I don't know. But the quarterback position and the decision with Tannehill is going to dominate a lot of the conversation this offseason.
Yeah. I'm super impressed with Ryan Tannehill this year, all that he dealt with and how he performed. But is he the long-term answer to get you where you want to go? That's the only real question. Let me ask you this as the show's ending. But just first instinct, and of course we'll talk about this plenty.
Oh, yeah.
If you were, whoever the GM will be, would you consider loading up to move up to get one of those quarterbacks? You're sitting at 11 right now.
Yeah, I would.
You would?
Yeah.
So you're a Will Levis guy, huh?
I would not do that.
Yes, you would.
First off, I think you could probably get Will Levis at 11. I don't know if I believe that he's just going to go in the top 5. If he does, you better be hoping to God it's to the Colts.
Yeah, root for Indy. Yeah. Okay, you would. You think they can go? My question, even if you say yes to that, my question is, okay, so what can you do to get into the neighborhood of getting a Young or a Stroud?
It's a great question. It's a little bit easier today knowing that the Texans aren't going to have the number 1 overall pick because that would be a non-starter.
Right. Like you have a team now that I think will absolutely be looking to move out of there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a more realistic conversation today. A lot to get to on that front throughout the offseason.
Real fast, congrats to the Chicago Bears for being the suckiest team in the entire NFL. Yay, Bears! Bear down!
Way to go.
Hey, listen, they're sitting in a great spot right now.
For being the worst team?
Yeah, really good spot. That's going to do it for us today here on Robby and Rexrode. Jason Michelle up next. This is 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You watch the game.
Sliding across, making the stop, UC Sarah.
We talk the game.
That wraparound goal by Sanford was a beaut.
Tanner Janot, Ryan Johansson gets on the board.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.